All right, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fans. Get our heads right on this Tuesday morning. Great to be here with you. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Hey, how are you?
Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. Good morning to you, Benjamin.
Good morning.
It's great to be here.
It is. It's a good day.
It is. It's National Cat Day, so I'm going to give a shout-out to my three cats, Tiger, Manny, and Orange. Good morning, cats and kittens. We love you very much. Cat guy now. Huge cat guy. Never was a cat guy before. Got married, turned into a cat guy.
I'm very allergic to cats. When I was a kid, went over and spent the night at my friend's house, and they had a cat. And my face, blew up. My eyes, swelled shut, completely closed. It was one of the most miserable nights of my life.
How did I know that, Paulie? Paulie, how did I know that he was allergic to cats? My dad also is allergic to cats.
I promise you, I'm really allergic to cats.
I did the finger quotes on it. I remember one time. So it's always really fun when they come to visit.
I'd actually think that I might be a cat person if I wasn't
think you would,
allergic to cats.
You don't have to do anything.
Right.
You don't have to walk them.
It's like a perfect pet. They got a little box.
They're literally the perfect pet.
I don't mind cleaning up the little box. It's fine. I could do cats if I wasn't allergic.
We have a robot in our garage. We don't even have to clean up the thing.
Really?
It does it for us. It's incredible. You can leave
a Roomba for cat litter.
I bought it for Hannah for Christmas. Remember this last year? It looks like a big egg, huge egg, and it's like a spaceship. And they climb inside, and then it goes, it cycles it through. You pull out a drawer. It's already in a bag. You empty the bag. You throw it away.
Wow.
It's brilliant. When I tell you though, you can leave for a week, and you come back. You're like, all right, how you doing? They're like, we're good. Did you enjoy your trip? It's incredible.
See, my dog, every single time I return home, even if it's 8 times a day, acts like
Oh, yeah.
they haven't seen me for years.
For years. It's crazy. My cats, I like that about them, too. And so I do. The switch that I've made is a little bit odd, but I just find when I had kids, I didn't have time to care for the dogs in my life as much as I did my kids. So, but I remember one time when my parents come to visit. So they can't come to our house, which always makes for a nice visit, right? Like, hey, you can't come over because we have 3 cats. We'll put them in the back room and lock the door and stuff. But I remember one time, Hannah and I went to dinner. We came home from dinner, and I go, why is my dome light on? My dad was sitting in my car, and I go, I pulled into the driveway. I go, what's going on? He's like, the cat hair was getting me. I go, did you take a Claritin or anything? He's like, no. I'm like, all right, well, just go back to your hotel. I don't know what to tell you. It's like Shohei coming out with that sling last night. I mean, at this point, you're just like, all right, man, okay. It's a little dramatic. I feel like you were the same way, Ben.
It wasn't overly dramatic.
I feel like
miserable.
it is. No, I feel like it's overly dramatic.
No,
I feel
legitimately miserable.
Like if you take medicine, are you okay?
No, not with cats.
I've never
doesn't really do much.
I have a very strong statement.
I take medicine every day anyway. I take Claritin every single day.
I have a very controversial statement. I've never really believed in allergies, so just I just have always looked at them a little bit like, nah, it's kind of a bit.
There are doctors who specialize in the field and devote their lives.
Oh, absolutely.
To it.
There's also doctors that specialize in, hey, don't worry, let me just I'm going to rip your neck out here and pull it out, and you're going to be fine. There's doctors that specialize in everything. Okay, doesn't make it true. Okay, I just have a
interesting.
I have. It's a I said
the big allergy conspiracy.
It's a big. I said. I feel like it's.
Shall we put up a poll question? Are allergies a real thing? Yes. No. Rocky Long.
Caitlin goes, bro, what? Look, I realize it's not necessarily based in fact. Okay, what I'm telling you is. Everybody in my life that has had allergies, I always look at them and I go, really? Come on, you're fine. And it drives them crazy. Hannah's like, oh, this is that time of year, allergies. I'm like, oh, yeah, allergies. Okay, all right. Sure.
You really want to blame us for our failures, apparently, in this arena. I see this.
I'm getting crushed right now, which is fine. It's absolutely fine. It's half tongue in cheek, but I just remember my friend when we were kids. We lived in Texas. We had a big ass yard, and I mean a big ass yard. Like, I don't know how much an acre is, but it was one of them plus some more. And I remember going out, having to slog through mowing the grass and all that. And I remember my friend down the street with a big ass yard. He's like, "Oh, I can't mow my lawn. Why? The allergies." I'm like, "Oh, okay, sure, all right, sounds good." Hannah, even my wife says she has allergies. Says they're definitely overblown.
For some people, but I don't think that is a blanket statement you can just make.
I think it is. Just take a Claritin. You'll be fine. Paulie, do you have any allergies?
No.
No, exactly. See?
But I also
strong of mind. You're strong of mind and body. That's why you don't.
But if somebody tells me they have a peanut allergy and they'll die if they have any peanuts,
I think you have to respect that.
I'll probably keep peanuts away from them if I can help it.
I mean,
food is different.
It's an
food
actual like syndrome.
It's different.
Just because
It's not
Paulie doesn't have
different.
allergies, Paulie, do you have ALS? No. I mean, it doesn't mean it's not real. It just means you don't have it.
So this kid in Bo's class had a peanut allergy, and it was one of those things. It was like he can't be in the vicinity of nuts anywhere. You can't have a nut near him. Now, guess what? He's sucking down planters and cashews, and everything's fine. Reese's. It's weird.
You can grow out of allergies. That is true.
Wow, no kidding. You can't grow out of ALS, as you said. All right, you can't grow out of some of these other things. Hence why I've always thought they were kind of a bit. I feel like my friend just didn't want to mow the lawn. I feel like you just don't really like cats.
I do.
So you work with me every day.
Yeah.
I come in here probably covered in cat hair. Never once have you been like, now that I just told you,
I don't bury my face in your shirt or anything. I mean, please don't.
Let's see how sick he gets. Look. Come on. Get in here. Get all over
You're
there.
going to be sad if I cannot continue the program.
This is what you call an experiment. Oh, no. See, look at him. Look at him. You're so full of it. This is what I'm talking about. 7 years we've worked together intimately. We've been close. There's a picture of me literally sitting on your face. Never once, Paulie, has he been like, cat hair is driving me crazy. And I got cat hair all over me.
I mean, maybe he has, and we just chalked it up to him being tired.
No. Watch him know. The course of the show. It's a bit. You're doing a bit. I just don't think you like cats.
You chose violence this morning.
I did. It's National Cat
I'm
Day.
trying so hard to sneeze right now. It's like I'm close, but I can't quite get there. It's like just want to sneeze badly.
Yeah, of course you do. Look
up at the light.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
really trying
look
to
up at the
see
light.
if I can get that sneeze going.
Now, I sneezed like 4 times yesterday. Does that mean am I allergic to something? Or I have some dust in my nose?
That could be either.
Okay. I think you're the Shohei Ohtani of allergies. My other hypothesis is Shohei's not hurt. Not even a little. He's fine. And if he was so hurt, you shouldn't play. They wanted to milk that moment last night. They really did. And if you saw him in the sling, my eyes rolled so far back in my head, I got allergies. And they went all the way back in my head when I saw him standing there and walks out to do his high fives in a sling, which I read that's the worst thing you can do for one of those shoulders, is put it in a sling. So,
what about just holding on to your collar?
Holding onto your shirt like this, leading off first base. Anybody else want to die when they saw that? Because I did.
Well, you were right when you said he wasn't going to be able to steal bases.
Yeah.
That was announced before the game.
That would be dumb.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are putting a leadoff hitter on who is not allowed to steal bases. Thank you. We will take no more questions.
And we actually prefer he doesn't slide. And if he can avoid running, well, when you put him
wouldn't you put a guy like that a little down in the lineup, if that's the case?
The good news is when you get him on and the guy after the next guy just hits a 2-run homer, all he has to do is jog. Can you jog? If you can jog, fine, because right. That's what the Dodgers do, is they just hit tanks. And the Yankees don't hit at all. So, it's 3-0, man. Dodgers on the verge right now of the first full season championship since 1988. And I have a theory. We can talk about it today. Not really a theory, more of a statement. they're going to be insufferable. But you know what? You've earned this insufferability. I had a problem with you being insufferable when you hadn't done anything. You play the way that you guys have played this postseason. Tip my cap to you, dude. You've kicked the crap out of everybody you've played. You've played incredible baseball, fundamental baseball. Be insufferable. When you win a World Series, when you win a full season World Series, you're allowed to be insufferable. It comes with your fan card. What I've been saying for 7 years is wait till you win one. Now you're on the cusp, you're gonna get one. Yes, now it's fine to be insufferable. You guys have earned that one, man. You've earned it. And they're playing great baseball. The Yankees are one of the worst World Series teams I think I've ever seen. Just not even interesting to watch. Not even a little bit. So it's hasn't been much of a series. It was billed as a good series. I'm guilty as charged. I said Holyfield. Tyson Holyfield, Ali Frazier. Bro,
You lied to me.
This is two rednecks fighting in the backyard, and one big redneck and one really skinny redneck. That's what this fight has been. It hasn't been much of one at all.
Chat says Woods is very judgy this morning. Oh, like 1 for 13 with 7 strikeouts?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's Judge-esque.
That's
Yeah. Sorry about if you have allergies and you're going to get mad at me. I'm sorry. Just lived with it my whole life. Live with it now. Yeah, right. Look, here it comes. Here it comes. I think my dad's sitting in my car. I think that's what set me over the edge of I'm at the point of no return. Us pulling in and me going, what are you doing?
Sometimes you just need to remove yourself from the situation.
Sitting in my car, sitting there, with the dome light on. What is happening?
You're supposed to sit in the dark? What are you...
You know what? Just don't come over anymore, I guess.
All right.
You can make it?
I don't know. I'm a little iffy now. I'm a little iffy going forward.
Chris says, Woods is allergic to empathy. I'm like the most empathetic person I know, but I also know a fraud when I see one. And I think I saw a fraud last night.
Well, we will discuss Game 3 of the World Series. We'll set the menu coming up. The only reason I'm happy is today is officially the last day I can be assured of the fact that the Dodgers aren't world champions, because there is a better than, I would say, 50% possibility that when we wake up tomorrow, it's a different world than the one we've been living in since 1988.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I agree with you. The 2020 World Series championship may count for something, but it certainly isn't a full, legitimate World Series title that's equivalent to all the other ones.
To this one.
Yeah.
To this one. And not to, believe me, if that had been us in 2020, we would have never heard the end of it. We would have been probably online having to defend it, but I don't think I could have. I mean, it was just like, of course our first one is some little pygmy World Series championship. They would have murdered us, slit our throats online verbally about that little World Series. And to go out and get one this year and to do it in the fashion that they've done it, I mean, yeah, like I said yesterday, I am a hater of epic proportions, but I'm not an idiot. I know good baseball when I see it. They're playing good baseball, and I don't take anything away from them at all. I'm not even going to sit in here and say, oh, the Yankees are playing bad baseball, that's why the Dodgers are winning. No, the Dodgers have seen this opportunity, and they have run with it. And, yeah, man, it's not the outcome we wanted, certainly, but I'm not taking anything away from them, man. They've absolutely earned it. They took the crowd right out of that game last night.
When history goes back and looks at the final scores, they're not going to see
they won't.
One-sidedness that I think we felt as viewers so far in this World Series.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the ninth inning last night, the ninth inning the other night. Couple of essentially meaningless runs that the Dodgers were able, or that the Yankees were able to tack on late. But it's been sheer and utter dominance from the Dodgers in all three games.
All right, we'll set the menu coming up, and then off and running on a Tuesday. Ben Woods and Paul with you until 10 o'clock. Kelly Danick's got her traffic, and we will be right back with more on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else. Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
You might call it a copium, but I actually think this is more painful than soothing. The Yankees are making a really good argument this series that the Padres were definitely the second best team, the one that really had a chance to take out the Dodgers.
I'm kind of over that whole narrative, to be honest. I really am. I know AJ Cassavell tweeted about it last night. He's going to be joining us at 8:35. I know Menu said
that's fine. You can always jump in. My assistant waiter here.
But
You're the busboy.
Hey, why is that guy from the kitchen coming out here talking about this? Sorry,
you know
I apologize.
when sometimes you have a trainee waiter who follows your regular waiter around.
What are you doing here? What do they call it?
This is Woods. He's our trainee waiter today. He'll be helping set the menu on the show. letting you know when AJ Cassavell's on. Good job, Woods.
It's yes,
It's not a narrative, though.
it is. That it should have been us.
I mean, yes, that is a narrative.
You know how we could have guaranteed that it would have been us? We would have won our games. We would have hit. We would have scored. It should not have been us. We didn't hit. We didn't score. I can't, like, I knocked that milk over. I can't scrape that milk back in the jug. Like, it's dead and gone.
The Yankees can say the same thing, except they can't say they had the Dodgers on the ropes and one game from elimination. But they've also stopped hitting.
Stopped hitting.
All
Right
it doesn't
at the
feel
wrong
like a
time.
narrative. It feels like an absolute fact that the Padres are the best team that the Dodgers had to face in the playoffs.
There's no doubt about it. The Padres were the best team the Dodgers have faced in the playoffs, bar none. Not even close. But
the only team to give them a punch in the mouth.
Any sort of fits whatsoever. Yeah. The only team to really, really push them at all.
How does that not bother you?
Oh, it does. But I can't. What I'm saying, it bothered me. What I'm saying is I can't, for the next 365 days or 720 days, go, well, I'm not going to be sitting on the front porch
I think it's going to sting for like 10 years.
Telling my grandkids, well, you should have seen us. We had a 2-1 lead over the Dodgers, and we completely soiled ourselves.
You know what? I'm still mad about the 2010-2011 Aztecs getting shafted by the refs in the Sweet 16 to UConn, because I felt like then UConn goes on and wins the whole thing, and you go, son of a bitch, that was our best chance. That was our year. It's been 14 years, and I'm still mad about that.
I think Paulie's right in a sense that even if the Padres won the next 3 World Series in a row, you'd go, should have been 4. Should have been 4.
You wouldn't.
I think you will.
On the planet.
I mean, you'll be happy, obviously, but I don't think you can ever go back and go, that just wasn't our year in 2024.
Bro, you're talking to somebody that was a Yankee fan that lived through 3-0. Like, and I got over it. You get over it. You have to. Or what's the point of sports if you're going to lament everything?
Well, it's easier when you have 26 before that.
Yeah, well, I mean, what year was that? That was 04.
03,
It was 04. You didn't win another one until 9, right? So 5 years later. 5 years of
that's
like,
the
that
only
sucked.
One since
yeah,
then.
and that's the only one since. And I don't know, man. Like, it was in the palm of our hands, and the fact that we quit hitting and quit scoring, yeah, it sucks, man. But like, we got nobody to blame but ourselves. It was, they have nobody to blame but themselves. They had them. They did. They had them on the ropes. It's the toughest team the Dodgers have faced this year, and but I can't go into next season. I can't go into next season being like, well, it's over now. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of have to turn the page a little bit, and again, give credit where credit's due. If the Dodgers had gone and got bodied by the Mets, that's what would have made me really sick. That would have been very, very sick.
I mean, yes, you turn.
That would have made it easier to me.
You turn the page, but
not me.
The Padres fan base. We're still talking about Matt Holliday not touching home plate in 2007.
You are. It drives me nuts.
A lot of people still bring it up. The getting close and not getting there, I think, stings for some people forever. Doesn't mean that you don't also enjoy the great moments, and we'll move on, certainly, but this is one that will remain and linger and stick in your craw for a very long time.
Yeah, it's tough. It's absolutely tough, but to say we belonged there instead of the Dodgers, maybe, but you had to win those games, and you had 2 chances to do it, and you didn't do it. So I don't know, man. Like, that narrative to me is, I'm kind of already over it. That's just me personally. You fan how you want to. I'm just telling you how I feel personally. I'm like, all right, well, how do we figure out how to beat these guys in the next? Because what I told Paulie before the beginning of the series, I go, what I'm really afraid of, my greatest fear, is that this is the start of some gnarly dynasty by the Dodgers in the next 5 to 10 years.
Is it the start, or is it simply taking what is already a dynasty to the next level?
No, I mean, because you're actually throwing in championships.
But it's not like they've been bad and all of a sudden they're good. They've won 12 of the last 13 division titles.
World Series.
They did win a World Series that, a minor one in 2020. Sure. And now it's already 2024, and their team looks well set up.
Oh, yeah.
As you're saying, going forward.
They're only going to get better next year.
The law, we say that every year. about them.
And they do.
And they don't, because they don't win the World Series every year. But they get better.
I think what's frustrating for Padres fans is most teams, even the Yankees, seem to cycle. And they have their good phase, and then they go down and have
they
a bad
don't make
phase.
the playoffs.
They don't make the
year.
playoffs for a couple years, and they don't really feel like a contender. The Dodgers have messed up in the playoffs over and over again, but they've never cycled down. Every single year they've gone into the playoffs, they've been favorites or one of the favorites going in. There hasn't been like that, this is the year. This was the year, actually, that the Dodgers were down. This was their worst season probably in the last decade. Yeah. If you're being honest with it, the most vulnerable they've been, the least deep they've been in pitching. This was the year that the Dodgers were their worst. And at their worst, they're going to win the World Series. Yeah. So they're probably only going to be better than this going forward.
But you are also the one that said it's much harder to win a second one. Do you still? It is. Do you feel like that they're not primed to win another one next year? Because I don't.
No, they'll be the favorites. There's no doubt about that. They'll be the favorites. No one's won 2 in a row again in 25 years. A generation since anyone's won 2 in a row.
It's a tough look, man. Tough look for the Yankees. Just did not show up.
We will. There were some interesting moments. It wasn't a scintillating game, but there were some interesting moments. Sending Stanton with 2 outs there. We can talk about some of the pivotal decisions there in Game 3 when we come back. In our 7 o'clock hour, take on Woods. We're still trying to qualify someone this week for those Aztecs basketball opening game tickets next week against UCSD. You'll have a chance to take on Woods at 7:10. Don't do this at 7:20. At 7:35 this morning, we're going to go through the list of top available free agents. They were set out this week by former GM Jim Bowden of The Athletic, and which players that he thinks the Padres might be in on. It's mostly pitching, but we'll give you some of those names that he has mentioned and connected to the Padres for this upcoming offseason. As Woods ably mentioned as his role as trainee waiter, A.J. Cassavell, who is at the World Series in New York, will join us at 8:35.
Oh, he's there? I didn't even know he was there.
Yeah, he's there. That's why we're having him on. He's in the Bronx.
I thought we were just checking in with our pal A.J. Cassavell.
No, he is in the Bronx right now, and we will get some flavor from the World Series and talk a little Padres with A.J. at 8:35. Paulie's got his Reindl Report at 9 o'clock, and then we'll take you into Annie and Elston at 10. Menu set. We'll come back, talk Game 3 of the World Series. Coming up next with Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. There is the possibility, we discussed it during the break, that the worst and funniest possible thing to the Dodgers could still happen.
It could. It's still out there.
It is baseball after all, and you could lose 4 games in a row. It does happen all the time, even
not
to good
in
teams.
the World Series.
Has never happened in the World Series down 3-0.
Right.
But it's not
Happens all the time.
It's not mathematically impossible.
No.
To come back and win 4 straight games. Got to win the first tonight. And we'll talk about Game 4 a little bit later. The Yankees' decision, what looks like they're going to go with Luis Gil, young pitcher in a elimination game in this one. But first, we'll go through some of the circumstances of last night's Game 3. We'll get to that after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by SDG&E. It looks like they cleared that crash on westbound side of the 8 at the 805, so we're seeing just a little residual slowing heading through that area. Now it's southbound 5's turn in the downtown area before Civic Center, collision blocking middle lanes. So yeah, expect to see some very tight traffic there. Also traveling on the southbound 805 at the south 163, stalled vehicle over to the right shoulder. In peak wildfire season, as a last resort, SDG&E may need to shut off power in specific areas for public safety. Learn more about public safety power shutoffs at sdge.com/PSPS. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So despite a partial shoulder dislocation, Shohei Ohtani back in the lineup, leading off for the Dodgers last night. And while, Woods, you have called into question, perhaps Shohei's exaggeration of the injury during the game, he certainly didn't look completely like himself to me, even
looked
on
exactly,
his swings at the plate.
His swings looked exactly like they've looked in
think so?
every other World Series game.
He hasn't had a great World Series to begin with, but there's 2 games.
He hasn't.
I don't know. I think that there's definitely, an issue there. The fact that they walked him on 4 pitches to lead off the game,
It's inexcusable.
didn't even make him swing, that was a bad start for Clark Schmidt. You could tell that his command may have been an issue, and it was in that game yesterday from the very get-go.
And I don't understand why you don't just throw first pitch heater and say, if you really have a dislocated, subluxated shoulder, hit it. See how far you can hit it. And if he gets you, he gets you. It's 1-0 in the first. Okay, no big deal. But to get him on nothing even close to the zone, nibbling on the outside corner, throwing away. Didn't even have an opportunity to swing the bat, which is exactly what you wanted to do. If I'm Aaron Boone, the first thing I tell Clark Schmidt is throw him heaters and let's see what he can do with it. Challenge him. If his shoulder is dislocated, and Doc talked about it in a later interview in the game, he said, even just him standing in the box is a presence. Yeah, 100%. Absolutely right. He said a percentage of Shohei is better than anybody else, and he's absolutely right about that. So he's just up there wagging the bat. Make him swing it, man. So you walk him, and then what happened with Betts? I think a fly out.
He made an out.
I
don't remember exactly how.
And then Freddie Freeman comes up and does what Freddie Freeman does to pitches in that zone.
He doesn't, though. I saw a stat yesterday. He has never homered in his career on an up-and-in cutter that Clark Schmidt threw. He has never, in like 222 cutters he's seen up there.
Oh, that was a cutter?
Yeah, and he's it was like an amazing stat. Like, Freddie has never hit that pitch out of the ballpark, and yet he did. Like, he knew it was coming.
It's the same location as the pitch from Nestor Cortez.
Little higher.
Little up.
Little higher than that one.
So he drops head, out, 2-0. And it's just the blink of an eye. And the Yankee Stadium crowd, dead. They're gone. And 2-0 to that team is that 2-0 to that team. It's insurmountable. I mean, it's insurmountable. And I think every Yankee fan felt it. Like,
did it not feel like game over right there?
100%. I mean, and the crowd just silence. Even more silent than when Fat Joe was out there. And it was pretty quiet when Fat Joe was out there. It was a rough one for Fat Joe last night. But yeah, and then on we go. Clark Schmidt, you know, I was telling these guys off the air, every year we go into the World Series, or really you go into any playoff series, and you have these things on paper that should check off, right? You should be able to say, yep, okay, Dodgers have a really good bullpen, check. The Yankees have far superior starting pitching, check. The offense for the Yankees is great at the top, check. Literally nothing's come through. I mean, nothing. No one knows anything. It's so futile to even speculate that we know about baseball when the Yankees starting pitchers, other than Cole, they can't get out of the third.
I think the one thing that has played out, though, that we predicted is that the Dodgers' depth in their lineup has been a major factor versus the Yankees.
Major.
You know, you can argue that the stars cancel out. They haven't, because Judge has struggled and the Dodgers have gotten more production out of their stars. But it truly is the 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 hitters that have been the complete difference in this series.
Yeah, it's the comparison of Jazz Chisholm, Austin Wells, Anthony Rizzo, Anthony Volpe, Trevino last night, Verdugo, who did hit a bomb later off Kopech, which I guess there's something to build on there. Maybe not. But then you look at what Kike's done, what Teoscar has done, what Will Smith, he hasn't really done much. What Muncy's done.
And Tommy Edman has been huge.
It's just the worker bees.
Lux has gotten on enough. They've done more than enough at the bottom end of their lineup.
And you can't give a team like the Dodgers. I was texting with some buddies last night, and it was like, these guys, they don't chase. They don't. They do not chase. They don't expand their zone. And they take their walks, and walks absolutely murdered the Yankees last night. 2 hit batters and 6 walks last night? You cannot do that. You can't give away free bags. They gave away 3 free bags in the first game. They gave 6 free bags plus 2 hit batsmen. That's 8 free bags last night. You can't do that to an average team. You can't do that to the Brewers. You can't do that to the Cardinals. They're gonna make you pay.
Could have gotten out of hand kind of early. They got the single by Mookie Betts in the top of the third on the 9-pitch at bat. Just fought one off to score Tommy Edman, loaded the bases, and the Yankees got the benefit of a 3-1 pitch, a call that was off the outside of the plate that could have forced in a run. Might have really unraveled for them, but Mark Carlson, the home plate umpire, who missed a few key calls, kind of kept the Yankees in the game. And they take Schmidt out. And they had that chance in the fourth inning. They get Lux out at the plate. They kind of hold on just like by the skin of their teeth. And in the bottom of the fourth, they're thinking, okay, Yankees may get on the board here. The 2-out single by Volpe. The decision to send Stanton seemed to be the most debated moment of the game last night. And I saw just some outrage from Yankees fans. How can you send him there? Obviously, he's not a fast, great base runner. I thought it was a pretty easy send, actually. I mean, Teoscar is not bad out there, but that was like his best throw of his life.
96 miles an hour.
Hard, straight, one hop perfectly to the plate, right for the tag.
Look,
and it had to be perfect to get him. I think you send with 2 outs, knowing, are we really going to get another hit here, or is this our best chance to score?
Who's on deck? Rizzo?
Let's see. It was Volpe, so it was probably
Rizzo was in the 6th last night, so it was Rizzo.
Rizzo?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to probably let Rizzo take an AB there with the literal slowest runner in Major League Baseball Giancarlo
It wasn't out.
Stanton.
It wasn't like he was out by 6 steps. He was
out up the line by he wasn't near home plate.
If that throw was at all off the plate, though, I think he gets in there. So I didn't have a problem with the send there. I thought it was a decent decision to try to get a run and get on the board as opposed to
literally, Ben, with I would say with any other player on the roster, I'm okay with the send based on who you have coming up behind you, you know.
Buehler was outstanding, though. You know, I don't know how many chances you were going to get against him. I'm surprised that Dave Roberts pulled him after just 76 pitches, 5 innings, just the 2 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, was getting more swing and miss, seemed to have more command, better life. That cutter that, you know, he'd start at the left battered hip and it would, you know, just cut right in over the plate was nasty a couple of times last night. Walker Buehler has been quietly a major factor for the Dodgers. After that 6-run inning, you know, he gave up to the Padres, he has been outstanding for the Dodgers this postseason. And that really came out of nowhere after his injury, his poor regular season, his poor debut in the playoffs against the Padres, and then just like a snap of a finger, he has been vintage Walker Buehler. And
locked it in.
That has really been a major factor for the Dodgers.
Yeah, locked it in 100%. The other thing I noticed last night, and I tweeted this before I saw John Boy break it down each one, I've never seen a team in the World Series more passive on 4-seam fastballs. And I mean, Walker Buehler, first pitch to Aaron Judge. I was sitting there with Hannah, and I go, all right, watch this. You would be a lunatic to throw him a fastball. What's he throw him? Fastball.
Maybe all those Trent Grisham pep talks the Yankees have been getting about, hey, you guys see a fastball down the middle?
Just take it.
Take it.
You take
it every time.
Do not swing. Hey, listen, 2-0, it's a hitter's count. Don't trust it.
I may not get in any of these playoff games, but I want to make sure I have a big impact on this series. You be like me. You take every single pitch that's straight and down the middle.
So I tweeted it last night. I said, I have never seen a team shy away from hunting fastballs more than the New York Yankees in my life. And I said, and I'm a Padres fan, right? I feel like our guy, in fact, I think we were one of the worst teams against the fastball.
Padres were not very good against the fastball.
In 2024. They hit everything else. The fastball, the Walker Buehler fastball, by the way, which is not the Paul Skeens fastball. It is not the elite of the elite. It's good. It's 94, 95, down the middle. So John Boy goes and puts it together. The Yankees, listen to this. The Yankees watched 24 4-seam fastballs go by for called strikes tonight. That's the most by them in a single game this season. It's the second most by any team this season. The Nats had 27 on May 4th. They're standing up there, hitters counts 2-0, and the heater is going right by them, and they're not even offering at it. They're not even trying like that. When you look at that and you say, my team didn't even try last night, I actually buy that. I buy that. If you're not up there looking to hunt fastball with the team that you have, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what your game plan was. It was horrible, and it made no sense. And my little leaguers would have a better approach than the New York Yankees did last night. I think anybody listening that coaches a team, your little leaguers, your high school team, your adult ball team, they had a better approach than the New York Yankees had last night. It made no sense. None of those guys are wild. Like, they're all around the zone. Buehler's around the zone. Hudson's around the zone. Kopech's around the zone. Gratterall's around the zone. Everyone's around the zone. What are you looking for if you're not looking for the heater?
Dodgers did walk 6 batters last night, but maybe that's a function of the Yankees just not swinging that much. I mean, you don't do when you only have 5 hits, you're not doing a lot of damage on those 6 walks.
They didn't have a hit until the 4th. You know, Walker Buehler's throwing a no-no through 3 2/3 or something. So I had no idea what they were trying to do last night, but it was not a winning baseball strategy. I'm telling you, man, it was rough. And then you had the missed call to Gleyber Torres, which, listen, you're going to get missed calls. It's going to happen. And I tweeted this, and I stand by this. Aaron Boone, who will absolutely crap his pants and fire out of the dugout in May against the Blue Jays on a low strike 3 call. That call 6 inches above the zone on Gleyber Torres, rallies over, Soto on deck, Aaron Judge leaning over the railing just gives him like a look. Didn't say a word. In a World Series game in which your team has not had any spark whatsoever, could there have been a better time to go out and kick some dirt, get in that guy's grill, and tell him how big of warriors and battlers your guys are, like you do in May and June against the Reds, but you don't do it here? I just looked at that and I went, that man is cooked right now. He's just completely cooked like his team. They're done.
Little help from the home plate umpire, but Dave Roberts once again managed his bullpen quite successfully. 6 different guys coming in after Walker Buehler. Most of them just, 2/3 of an inning, a third of an inning, 2/3 of an inning, a third of an inning from Brazier. And then, yes, Kopech gave up the home run, but ultimately when you're up 4, it doesn't matter in the 9th inning. The only question on that strategy, and when you're up 3-0, there's not much you can really question, is knowing you've got a bullpen game today. They went pretty early to that bullpen, and you used, Kopech for 24 pitches, Brazier for 22, who's been kind of your opener starter guy. Hudson had 22, so some of your longer relief guys have been taxed a little bit. So, that's something that maybe the Yankees can at least point to today. Like, hey, let's see if we can work some of these bullpen arms and get them tired and perhaps a little more vulnerable than they've been so far in this postseason. It's not much of a string to hold on to if you're the Yankees, but it's something going into Game 4 today.
Yeah, I mean, that's about all you have to hope for is, you've seen these guys a little bit, and I'm curious as to what's going to happen, who Dave's going to throw out there in the first inning. And a lot of people online talking about Brent Honeywell, maybe the opener tonight, but we'll see. Ryan Brazier has done it. They got it in the bag, it feels like.
Hard to disagree with that assessment.
Yeah, I mean,
I do think if the Yankees found a way to win tonight, with Garrett Cole going tomorrow, they could get the series back to L.A., which would maybe change the dynamic a little bit, and the pressure would start shifting back to the Dodgers. You do not want to even think about having to go to a Game 7 after you're up 3-0, which makes Game 6 feel like a must-win if you're the Dodgers. I just don't know how they get it necessarily to Game 5 with Heel on the mound, who is not a control pitcher, going up against a disciplined Dodgers lineup. This has all the recipes for 11-1. Just wrap it up easily and
roll over, man,
and just roll over and go home. If the Yankees don't do that, they could get back in this series and try for some history.
Yeah, you can't do it until you win a game. You got to win one game. So it doesn't look good right now.
All right, we'll take a timeout. When we come back, it was a sports equinox yesterday. Other things going on, including a little Monday Night Football. We'll do that. Take on Woods also coming up next year on 97.3 The Fan. Had just the 31st sports equinox ever yesterday with games in all the major professional sports in this country. NFL, NBA, NHL, and, of course, Major League Baseball last night. We talked about the Major League Baseball game. Woods, did you watch anything other than baseball?
No.
Paul, did you watch anything other than baseball?
I did.
You did?
I had the two monitors going. I had baseball and Monday Night Football.
All right. I also had the Monday Night Football game going on the second screen at work last night. Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the New York Giants. And pretty amazing stat. Had not realized. If you are following trends, there was a couple of clear trends in the game last night. The Pittsburgh Steelers do not lose at home on Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
When was the last time they lost, Woods?
I have this for you. They're 21-0. They have not lost a Monday Night Football game at home since 1992. I was we were juniors in high school.
Make it 22 in a row last night with the win, 26-18 over the New York Giants. Also, Daniel Jones does not win at night.
I've got Daniel Jones led teams are 1-14 in primetime games.
Now 15.
0-7 on Monday night games. 0-8. And 0-5 against top 5 scoring defenses after week 5 of the season. I saw Trey Wingo tweet that. Then I saw BR Betting tweet that that the Steelers have not lost a Monday Night Football home game in over 30 years. So I went and put money on the Steelers.
Now they
would have been a funny story had I lost with all of that in my favor.
And they did have a chance to lose in the end. So the Steelers, it was 9-9. They got the punt return touchdown by Calvin Austin III, 73 yards.
Well,
which
the backdoor cover was certainly in play because it was -6.
Well, it was close, and then they got the touchdown, which could have easily been called back on a roughing the kicker penalty that was not called for whatever reason. And then Austin gets another touchdown. So the Steelers are up 16 on the Giants. And the Giants score a touchdown in the fourth quarter. So they're now down 10. No, they were down 14 and they went for 2. So they were down 8 and they went for 2 instead of 1. It's the new analytics play. And I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that. When you're down 14 points in the fourth quarter and you score a touchdown, the new theory is go for 2 twice and you'll have about the same chance of getting, at least one of them and tying the game. But if you happen to get the first one,
then you can win the game.
Then you can win the game just by kicking the extra point.
I think it's smart.
It didn't work for the Giants. They did not make it. It was a very poorly constructed.
They kick that extra point back, like if they're gonna move it back again in a couple of years, like it's already not as easy as it was a couple of years ago. Like you're probably got a good shot at getting the 2-point conversion.
Getting one of them,
so
at least.
It's about 50-50 on converting 2. So if you know you're going to have 2 chances at 2-point conversions, you expect in 2 chances to get 2 points. The thought is, though, if we happen to get the first one, then you kick the extra point on the second one, and all of a sudden it's a 1-point win as opposed to going to overtime where you only have a 50-50 chance of winning that game. The problem is, like last night, when you have a really poorly executed 2-point conversion, now you're chasing it. Now you know we need to score a touchdown and get the 2-point conversion, or we don't even get to overtime in that game, which can be frustrating. I do believe if you have any confidence in your offense, in your 2-point conversions, it is the smart play to go for the 2 twice and see if you can get that first one to put yourself in a better position to win the game later. Just doesn't look good, and I think that's the thing with analytics, whether it's football or baseball. When a team follows the analytics and it doesn't work out, it looks really bad. It's very frustrating to fans.
Yep.
It just feels like it wasn't smart, even though technically it was. You just can't play like, okay, I mean, if you play 10 straight games and you were down 14 every single time and you scored a touchdown, it would play out in the long run. Yes, of course, this is a better thing. We won 6 of those games because we went with the analytics strategy as opposed to only 5 of them. That's all you're really looking for is that tiny edge. But when it's just 1, there's still a good chance it's not going to work out for you.
Yeah.
And that's always frustrating to fans. When you make that analytics play and it doesn't work out, it makes it seem like analytics are dumb and stupid and don't work because, well, in football, it may take years for you to get those 10 tries at the 14-point deficit coming back for it to actually make a difference. And the coach...
It's not like you're going to get it. It's not like you're going to get it more than likely 7-8 times in a season. So you're like, oh, we've got this plan. It doesn't come up all that often.
It doesn't make it
so
wrong.
So it does make it look dumb.
But
it
in such
work.
a small sample size, it can not work for you. It can backfire. And then all of a sudden it looks like analytics are dumb. And, stop listening to the math geeks when they're telling you to do this. This is how football has been played forever. You're down 14. You kick the extra point to get within 7.
Sure.
Why would you go for 2 in a situation like that? And then you miss it like the Giants did. And you really look like you're foolish. When you're not being foolish, you're being smart. It just didn't work out the way you were hoping it to work out.
100%.
So anyway, also saw that interesting situation where George Pickens had 2 touchdowns called back, including one on a play I'd never seen where he got 2 feet down in the end zone, but it was the same foot twice. He landed on his right foot, hopped, and landed on the right foot inbounds again, and then fell on his butt out of bounds, but the left foot never came back. They called it a touchdown originally. They had to reverse the call, knowing, well, you have to actually get 2 different feet down. It's not the same foot twice. It's 2 feet, but they have to be 2 different feet to score a touchdown.
Well, your beloved Lakers and the sports Equinox lost to the
did.
Phoenix Suns. Sorry about that.
First road game, and Phoenix with Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, good team. LeBron only scored 11 in that game. Was not at his best. 3 of 14 shooting. Anthony Davis was good again. Austin Rivers was good again. Your Memphis Grizzlies, who you're high on.
Yeah, they lost.
They lost. Let's see. How about hockey? Anyone watch any hockey?
I did not watch any hockey.
Watch any hockey either last
I
night.
wish we had a squad here.
But, your sports Equinox did take place last night.
I placed a $10 sports Equinox bet yesterday across the 4 majors at least. And I had the Maple Leafs in the NHL. They won.
They did, okay.
I did not watch a second, but I was following on the ESPN app.
Who did they play?
It's a great question. I'm glad you asked. They played, that one team. Who's the team that's, the Jets.
Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Are they still a team?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just looked it up.
They weren't for a while, and then they came back and existed again.
I had Maple Leafs, and I had Anthony Davis over 26.5. He hit.
You got that?
I had George Pickens to receive a touchdown, who
He had
had
2
not
touchdowns,
one,
but neither of them
2
counted.
brought back. And then I had a Juan Soto home run that obviously did not.
That did not happen.
No.
Not happen.
No.
The college basketball was not part of the sports Equinox, but we do have the season getting underway, and we got tickets, a chance to win tickets at least with Take on Woods. If you want to call in now and be our contestant, 833-288-0973. A pair of tickets to San Diego State's season opener at Viejas Arena next week. On the line, if you want to battle Woods in our daily musical trivia contest, 833-288-0973. That is moments away, so call right now because the lines are open, and we need a contestant in the next minute or two. Coming up later on the program at 7:35, we're going to discuss some of the available free agents and names that could possibly be of interest to your San Diego Padres. Don't know what kind of money they have to spend this offseason or don't have to spend.
Which always makes it a really fun exercise.
Abraham in our chat just said, I read the Padres are cutting payroll down to 160. You didn't read that, other than maybe like some fan on Reddit posting
Was it Jenna Tolles that tweeted that? Because Jenna Tolles tweeted last night that AJ Preller is currently in Japan working on Roki Sasaki, which I don't know that that's the case.
That is one of the names on the list that we'll talk about at 7:35. But we don't know anything about what the Padres payroll level is going to look like. And if you think you do, then your name is Eric Katsenda, Eric Grupner, or AJ Preller. Those are the only people I think that really have an idea of maybe. And I'm not even sure they fully know what the Padres payroll is going to look like next year, because the way they tend to operate is they look at opportunities and they look at costs and they go, is this opportunity worth the cost? And if they think it is, they'll go up. And if they don't think it is, they'll go, let's be a little more, prudent and responsible this offseason. So I'm not even sure if they have a full idea of what the payroll is going to be. So pretty sure whoever Abraham is reading does not know what the payroll is going to be for the San Diego Padres next season.
My guess is it's going to be higher than 160. Just an educated guess.
It would be almost impossible to get it down to 160.
You can do it if you wanted to.
I mean, you would have to trade probably both Ethan Salas and Leodalis DeVries and attach them to a larger contract to get rid of some people to get it down to 160.
Yeah, it'd be tough.
And if they did that, then you'd be putting the white flag up in the organization, which
would be awesome, right?
Seem like what they've been aiming and shooting for these last few years. I'd be surprised by that.
Correct.
All right, someone just called in, Paul. Yeah, we got it. All right, let's get to it. Let's play a little Take on Woods. All right, let's go with Izzy. Welcome, Izzy. How are you?
I'm good, guys. How you guys doing?
Good. I like
up,
your
Izzy?
energy. Let's do this. Take on Woods is brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes. You don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. You've got an opportunity, if you can beat or tie Woods in these 5 questions, to win, or at least qualify to win, and it's only this week, a pair of tickets to the Aztecs basketball season opener on November 6th, next Wednesday at Viejas Arena. One of our morning qualifiers will be selected at the end of the week for the tickets. And to give you a little bit of an advantage, I'll give you our 3 categories to choose from. We've got Blank Like Blank, 5 song titles that feature phrases connected by the word like. We've got This for That. That is an all 2-second song category that has words connected by the word for in the middle. And we've got Feeling the Heat, and those are song titles and artists that have heat in their name. So, Blank Like Blank, This for That, or Feeling the Heat. Izzy, what would you like to play?
Let's see. Let's go Blank Like Blank.
Blank Like Blank. Okay, again, 5 song titles. They all feature phrases connected with the word like. So, kind of blank like blank. You have 60 seconds. If you don't know an answer, you can pass. Paulie's got the 2-second song queued up. You need to give me that song title and the artist to score the point there. Izzy, are you ready to play?
Ready to go.
All right. 60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. The category Blank Like Blank. Good luck, Izzy. Let's take on Woods.
Rock You Like a Hurricane.
By?
Scorpions.
Correct. Which legendary song by Nirvana includes the name of a deodorant in the title?
Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Correct. The Chainsmokers teamed up with Coldplay for which song they became...
Pass.
The phrase "time keeps on slippin', slippin', slippin' into the future" is repeated in which 1976 hit for Steve Miller Band?
Steve Miller. Let's see. Into the Future. Pass.
Which 2004 country hit for Tim McGraw
Oh,
is...
excuse me. Fly Like an Eagle.
Correct. Which 2004 country hit for Tim McGraw is about a man who receives a terminal diagnosis from his doctor?
Pass.
The Chainsmokers teamed up with Coldplay for which song that became one of the biggest hits of the year 2017?
You got me on that one. I don't know.
All right. Any idea on the Tim McGraw hit about a man who receives a terminal diagnosis from his doctor in the last few seconds?
Let's see. Miss You Like a Brother, Dad.
No, but I think 3 is a decent score here. You got Rock You Like a Hurricane, The Scorpions, Smells Like Teen Spirit, and Fly Like an Eagle. Chainsmokers is Something Just Like This.
Woodsy won't get that one.
And Tim McGraw is Live Like You Were Dying. That's a maybe. I know country's not his wheelhouse, but that's a maybe.
I think he'll get the
I think
Steve
the other
Miller
ones,
Band.
he's definitely going to get the first one. We'll see. Doesn't get the category. Izzy's score is locked in. Fun game there. Let's see how Woods does. Let's put 60 seconds back on the clock. Woods, your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on Izzy.
It's Rock You Like a Hurricane, the Scorpions.
Correct. Which legendary song by Nirvana includes the name of a deodorant in the title?
Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Correct. The Chainsmokers teamed up with Coldplay for which song that became one of the biggest hits of the year 2017?
Pass.
The phrase "time keeps on slippin', slippin', slippin' into the future" is repeated in which 1976 hit for Steve Miller Band?
Fly Like an Eagle.
Correct. Which 2004 country hit for Tim McGraw is about a man who receives a terminal diagnosis from his doctor?
Oh, God. I don't know. Go back to the other
The
one.
Chainsmokers teamed up with Coldplay for which song that became one of the biggest hits of the year 2017?
Is it... I don't know what the category is. Is it Sky Full of Stars?
It's not. Which 2004 country hit for Tim McGraw is about a man who receives a terminal diagnosis from his doctor?
My taint is swollen.
That's not good enough. And with the 3-3 score, Izzy, congratulations.
That's a tie.
You have tied, and you have put yourself into the drawing for the Aztecs tickets at the end of the week. Maybe the only one. Who knows? Congratulations, Izzy. So you did not get something just like this and live like you were dying. Everything was connected. Rock you like a hurricane, smells like Teen Spirit.
I went skydiving.
That's
I went
that's Live
Rocky
Like You Were
Mountain
Dying.
climbing.
I don't know that if I know
I
that
went
one.
2.7 seconds. Yeah, live like you were dying. Tim
I think
McGraw.
I've heard it, but
I'm
I
sure
don't
you
know
probably
the-
heard it.
Yeah,
Thought maybe the context clues might,
I had no
might
idea.
give that
what
one
was the
away.
Coldplay one?
Something just like this: Chainsmokers and Coldplay.
Nope. All right, well,
good
3-3.
song.
That means I didn't lose.
You didn't
so
lose,
I'm still
though.
in the running for the tickets.
It's good news for everybody. You
Yeah.
didn't lose. Izzy qualifies for the tickets. Izzy, stay on the line. Paulie will get your information during our break. Put you into the drawing for the Aztecs tickets. Congratulations.
It would be terminal
When-
if your taint was swollen, I think.
not
It's
ideal.
been a while since you've gotten a country one right. I'm not saying you never get
Yeah.
them right, but it's usually the very older
Yeah, it's the old
country ones, the the Waylon Jennings,
Yeah, the Willie the Waylon.
Nelsons.
Yeah, that's
those
more
are the
my
ones
jam.
you kind of get.
Yeah, it's more my jam these days.
But
So-
anything from like 2000 on in
not
country.
anything. I
We've
mean,
been,
there's
we've been guessing your score before you come in.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And we said he's going to get
Three.
three. Probably not going to get the Chainsmokers. The country one,
Maybe.
it's always the
Maybe.
It was
toss
a maybe. That was a toss.
yeah, toss up. Got me. 3-3.
All right.
Still in the running. Adam did say in the chat I could have the tickets if I sweep the
Now you
league.
can't.
What do you mean?
Well, he's in the drawing now. Do you want to put your name in the drawing?
My
with
name's now in the
Izzy?
drawing.
Izzy's
That's
in
what
the-
I'm
Izzy's
saying.
the only one in the drawing.
no, I'm in the drawing
Right
with
now,
Izzy
they're
as well.
Izzy's until another
That's true.
I
listener.
think they're Izzy's until someone else is qualified.
Interesting.
So. All right, Don't Do This is coming up next. We had a not great pregame performance yesterday at the World Series.
Yeah.
Curious what Woods has to say about it.
Sure, a text from my dad.
Allergy related?
Is he allergic to Fat Joe?
that I got. Yes.
All right, we will do that when we come back after traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
All right, DDT, a couple of stories that make you shake your head. Got something good from the world of sports for you as well this morning. And talked about it yesterday, Woods, the statue unveiling of Dwayne Wade in Miami. And
it was something.
The reaction to it. I mean, bless Dwayne Wade. He went in full defense of the statue yesterday. And I kind of get it. I mean, after reading what he said and the amount of work that went into the statue, I do feel bad for people and the criticism that it's getting for not really looking like Dwayne Wade at all. But Dwayne Wade's defense wasn't exactly the greatest either. He's, quote, "If I wanted it to look like me, I'd just stand outside of the arena and y'all can take photos." Doesn't need to look like me. It's the artistic version of a moment that happened that we're trying to cement. And it was the moment when he jumped up on the scorer's table and shouted, "This is my house," in 2009 at the end of a game against the Chicago Bulls. So what about all the reaction from social media, Dwayne? He says, I care, but I don't. Social media world's about opinions. Everybody has an opinion. So then he talked about the fact that he actually put a lot of work into this. It wasn't just the sculptor. Says there are only a few organizations that have a statue outside. There's not even 15 players who played this game of basketball that have a statue outside. We have a statue outside. So for me to be the vessel that's used, to be the chosen one, I'm proud of it. I'm proud because we worked very, very, very hard to create an image that will stand for a long time and express what the Miami Heat, my family, and our fan base is about. And it said sculptors took about 800 hours of work to make the statue, and Wade was directly involved with the process.
Oh, my God.
And Wade had seen parts of it, including the face, along the way. Now, he did acknowledge, and he said he laughed, and I hadn't seen this before yesterday, but the people who said it looked more like actor Lawrence Fishburne.
It does.
It does. It actually is a really good statue of Lawrence Fishburne, just not Dwayne Wade.
Somebody put...
It's not supposed to look like him. It's an artistic version.
Okay. All right. Somebody put him in the Han Solo carbon, and I lost my mind. That face is... The internet is fun for jokes.
Is he alive, Calrissian? Yes.
Yeah. Put him in there.
Carbonite.
Carbonite. Yep. Yeah. That's exactly one of my favorite Star Wars scenes of all time.
Absolutely. Empire Strikes Back.
When he
when
Return
he comes
of the
out
Jedi. Return of the
of the
Jedi.
Carbonite.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my favorites.
When Leia's dressed
the hands
up as
get
the
red, and he just
bounty hunter, and he falls.
He's freezing cold.
Has hibernation sickness.
Yeah. So good.
Like it's all twisted up.
Yeah.
Good moment.
Good moment.
And then Leia reveals that it's her.
Yes, correct.
Really good moment.
So the
spoiler alert, movie from 1983.
So the Yankees countered the Ice Cube punch. That was a pretty cool moment the other night when Ice Cube came out of the bullpen and was doing today was a good day and just getting after it. And the whole of Dodger Stadium was way into it. You guys see the Ice Cube performance?
Yeah.
Thought it was awesome. That was great. Always been an Ice Cube fan. He's
We are
friend of the program.
Good Cube show here.
Friend of the program here on Ben and Woods. Well, the Yankees countered with Fat Joe, who is from the Bronx, huge Yankee fan, and he's got some hits out there, and people knew him. I don't know why there was such a difference in L.A. and such a difference in New York. I expected New York to be a little bit more raucous, but it didn't sound good. It did not sound nearly as good as Cube. We have a little audio for you of Fat Joe last night.
I got a honey redonic, brother, I'm from New York. I'm from New York. We from the home of a terrorist. Yes, I'm from New York.
A little off key, yeah? Francis Scott off key.
Sounds a little more like Big Bomba Clad.
He did sound a little like M.R.
Big bomber class before busting on me head.
M.R. should absolutely be doing that tonight at Yankee Stadium. I don't know his connection, but it was not good. It was not a good performance. It was kind of universally panned. Yankee fans, they were showing Yankee fans in the crowd, and some of them had their head kind of in their hands. Like, I think you're really nervous anyway before that game. And then Fat Joe comes out. He's way off key. He's just screaming stuff into the mic. Hannah goes, "Why is he screaming?" I go, "I have no idea. The microphone actually amplifies your voice, so you don't necessarily have to scream into it. You can just rap your normal way." He looks good though. Fat Joe is no longer Fat Joe. Just call him Joe the rapper. But he looks good. He's lost a ton of weight.
BronxFatLoss.com.
Hey, how you doing?
BXFatLoss.com.
Hey, how you doing? This is Vinny for BXFatLoss.com. I dropped 40 pounds. Can you believe it? Oh, my God. Oh, there he is.
I did
Vinny,
it with no exercise.
No
I still ate
gabagool.
gabagool.
no more plaster.
Some lasagna.
Plaster. Oh, God. BronxFatLoss.com is so good. Yeah, hey, good morning. It's your old pal, Vinny. You like what you see? Yeah. Yeah. Still ate gabagool. It's so good. So good. He looks good, man. He looks good.
Texted you guys yesterday. Had the Padres, gotten a couple of hits, maybe, scored a couple of runs, advanced to the World Series.
Right.
This is the theme. This is the new trend.
Uh-huh.
You're gonna have a musical act. Who do the Padres counter with? If you got Ice Cube, you had Fat Joe.
Tom DeLonge's oh God.
I saw the last time the Yankees were there, had the World Series in New York. I think they had Jay-Z and Alicia Keys because their Empire State of Mind song was out at the time. I was thinking, who the hell would have been San Diego's opening act?
Yeah, Jason Mraz. Would have been great. Steve Poltz, perhaps.
I mean,
POD.
Tom DeLonge gets a lot of the...
Tim Flannery and the Lunatic Fringe.
Oh, I'm all in.
You'd have to get all of Blink-182.
Yeah, but one of them is a Dodger fan.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Oh, did you guys see Paul George last night?
Uh-uh.
Oh, I'm going to save that.
All right.
I'm going to save that for you guys. My dad texted me last night. He said, who in the world is this guy? And I go, it's Fat Joe. And he goes, it's terrible. That's all he said.
In this case, Dad, you are in fact correct.
I think you
It
nailed
was
it.
terrible.
I think you nailed it.
All right, finally, some do this.
DD mega doo-doo.
And I know that this person is not necessarily beloved by his fan base, but when you do something good, you should be hailed for it. Carolina Panthers owner David Tepper and his wife Nicole, in a move to help the Carolinas, which have still been devastated by the recent hurricanes, held a concert at Bank of America Stadium this weekend in Charlotte, had a couple of big country music acts, got 82,000 people to show up, and they are donating all the proceeds, which I believe is over like $22 to $24 million from the concert, to hurricane relief in their communities of the Carolinas, which is a pretty cool thing to do, and you'd want to see more NFL owners, help their communities like that. So even though Tepper is not considered one of the great owners in football, certainly with perhaps the worst team in the league right now, is doing something with his resources to help his community.
I like
and that is worthy of a do this on a Tuesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Paul, you had a don't do this moment when we left work yesterday. So Woods and I left, and then Paulie leaves a couple of minutes later, and he texts us.
I was about 2 minutes behind you guys.
Yeah.
So we're on the 6th floor here at our Odyssey studios. What happened to you, Paulie?
So, first of all, I should preface this with, even though it's 10:15-ish in the morning, like, there's never any traffic on those elevators.
No.
Whether it's
There might be
before our
people
show,
going up,
after
but
show.
going down,
We
we're-
have 3 different
yeah.
elevators. Usually it's a straight shot all the way down to floor number 1. Occasionally, somebody will stop and I'll just have to go down. I get on it, the 6th floor here. It stops. It goes down past the 5th floor. It stops on the 4th floor. No problem. Girl gets on. She goes down to the 3rd floor.
Oh, my God.
All right, whatever. Doors close. She gets off. Doors close. Goes down. Stops on the 2nd floor.
Oh,
At
my
this point,
God.
I go, what the F?
It
I
shouldn't
screamed.
be that big of a deal. It's literally adding, 25
Right, it
seconds
was
to your
nothing.
day. I would have been incensed
Yeah.
for some reason, like irrationally
Tell us what
angry.
you texted us back
I get
about your special feeling that you have.
I get so mad, like personal. It's like a personal affront
yeah.
when I'm going down an elevator and it has to stop.
Yeah.
And I know that's not rational behavior. I also do that when a light changes in front of me from green to red. Like it saw me coming, and it's like I get mad for some reason. I
Diva.
get
It's
mad
your
about
diva.
very little.
That's why.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's the diva in
Bro,
you.
when it went from the 3rd floor to the 2nd floor and stopped again.
Somebody taking one flight down bugs me, or one flight up.
Yeah, it happened twice.
Yeah, if it's just one, just take the stairs.
Take the stairs.
Don't ever, no. One flight elevators should
Yeah.
be banned.
For sure.
I'm pretty sure the guy looked like he definitely heard me through the elevator doors.
Go, "What the
What the F? And I go, sorry, man.
All right, when we come back, list of top 45 baseball free agents and names the Padres may be connected to. One I'm surprised they weren't connected to, and one name that I hadn't even heard of that they were connected to as well. We'll get to all of those coming up next with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
This segment by. We actually should have gone back last night and done fact checking from a year ago for Jim Bowden's potential targets to see how many were actually accurate. My guess would be 0, 1, maybe.
I don't know. He picks like 5 or 6 different teams for each guy, so I've got to imagine he hit on a few.
You think?
Yeah.
I always feel like, and especially when we do this as an exercise in the offseason of, hey, who could we target? Have we ever gotten one right? Jerks and Profar. We all got Jerks and Profar.
Absolutely got Jerks and Profar
100% got that right. We had him penciled in on day one before the ink was dry.
But you're right. The best way to approach a Padres offseason with A.J. Preller as general manager is expect the unexpected.
Correct.
You're probably going to end up being surprised by most of the moves. So, yes, this is simply a framework to kind of get us started. This is not a final exam. This is the first, crib sheet in a long study process that we've got that is the 2024-2025 offseason coming up. But I do have a list of the top 45 free agents as compiled by a former general manager, and I do believe the list is fairly accurate in terms of guys that will be pursued and signed.
He got
this
that part
offseason.
right.
So he got that part right at least. And the Padres were mentioned on a few of the players, and I want to talk about some of them coming up after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is fueled by locally and veteran-owned Sedano Ford in La Mesa. Guys, southbound 5's been a bit tough this morning. They cleared this crash before Washington Street, but prior to that, there's this accident now on the Genesee off-ramp. A couple vehicles involved. Then in the downtown area, crash southbound 5 just before Civic Center. That is in the center divide. Westbound King Freeway before 28th Street. Got a collision over to the right shoulder. Northbound side of the 5 just past Mile of Cars Way. An accident in the center divide. San Diego, prepare for a spine-tingling adventure with Sedano Ford in La Mesa. The 2024 Ford Bronco Sport Big Bend is only $296 a month. Hurry to Sedano Ford, your local veteran-owned dealership, before this deal disappears. For more details about this offer, haunt SedanoFord.com. Boo-yah. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So as you'd expect, Woods, any ranking of free agents this offseason done by anyone who knows anything about baseball has to start with one person and one person only.
Juan Soto.
And that is Juan Soto, who is the top free agent on the market. That's where Jim Bowden starts. Obviously, he mentions the Yankees and the Mets. He also threw in the Blue Jays as potential fits. He predicted a contract of 15 years, $622 million.
Remember when people said Juan Soto was the biggest dummy alive for turning down $440 million from the Nationals? And what are they projecting?
15 years, $622 million.
Imagine leaving $200 million on the table, 180, whatever.
He has reached the finish line. I mean, assuming he doesn't suffer a career-ending injury tonight, he has reached the finish line of a journey that has proven him and his agent, Scott Boras, pretty wise in terms of maximizing his value.
440. When those numbers came out, he was here when they came out that he turned that down, and everyone on the planet was like, "You're a moron. You're an absolute moron. How do you turn down generational wealth like that?" And he said, "All right, well, got one more in me, and let's see what can happen." He raised his profile by $180 million ish. You know, we'll see how it all pans out, but holy smokes.
Second on the list is Corbin Burns, pitcher who spent this last season with the Orioles. Bowden has the Mets, Dodgers, Red Sox, and Orioles. His best team fits and projects a contract of 7 years, $247 million. No mention of the Padres there. Now, it's the third one, Roki Sasaki, who, again, is, and he acknowledges, it's unclear if he's even coming over to the U.S., but if he does, he will be one of the premium guys, but he can't get a big contract. He'd get a minor league deal only in international signing money. He does not mention the Padres as a fit. He has the Dodgers, Yankees, Mets, Diamondbacks, and Red Sox as his 5 potential fits. I think that's an error. I think the Padres are absolutely in the upper echelon of teams that Roki Sasaki would consider if he was coming over.
And the Cubs should be in there as well. Just read a piece that they have sent numerous scouts. And again, I mean, look, for international signing money, guys, 30 teams should be in on him. I don't know what everybody holds international signing money-wise. I don't know what they've got
certainly
in their
at least
coffers.
Make the call.
Yeah, I mean, but there should be, let's say conservatively, 25 teams are probably in on Roki Sasaki.
So we know the Padres need pitching, and there are a number of other pitchers in his top 10 and 15, including Max Fried, Blake Snell, who is number 8 on his list, Freddie Peralta, who is number 9 on his list, but none of them are, at least in his mind, attached to the Padres. In fact, the first name that he has attached to the San Diego Padres is his number 15 free agent, and it is a guy coming off a major injury.
Oh, good.
Shane Bieber, who is a really good pitcher and had his Tommy John surgery, probably will not be available to pitch for the first at least couple of months of the season as
Sounds
he
like
continues
a Padre already.
His recovery. But as the state of the art and the medical recovery process has gotten better, Shane Bieber is a really, really good pitcher. He won the Cy Young in 2020, finished 4th in 2019, 7th in 2022, 2-time All-Star. He's a Gold Glove winner. I mean, he is someone who you might be able to get on a bargain deal because of the injury, and would potentially, if you think you're a contender, be someone who'd be pitching big games for you down the stretch and in the postseason.
And has some experience with our pitching coach, if our pitching coach ends up staying.
Correct. Ruben Niebla worked with Shane Bieber extensively in the Guardians organization. So Padres mentioned, Guardians mentioned, Rangers and Dodgers, who are on the list for a lot of these guys, were mentioned in that one as well.
Jay in the chat says, Justin Bieber's fastball is greater than Shane Bieber's. Maybe right now as it stands today, Jay. But I think given a little time to heal, I think Shane Bieber can still be an effective pitcher at the big league level. I don't think he's done yet.
So the next player...
I'll take him over Justin Bieber.
I'll take him over Justin Bieber. I will say that.
The next player attached to the Padres is the one that I went, don't really know much or anything about this guy. At number 18, Bowden has Tomoyuki Sugano, who's a right-handed pitcher, the other pitcher that could be coming over from Japan in this offseason.
We talked to Kyle Glazer about him.
Benny was out.
Did he? Was that the day that he was out? Okay.
We had Kyle Glazer in studio, and
he did some scouting on him.
He had just put together a story on Sugano, a couple of days before that story came out, that he was potentially coming over to Major League Baseball. And when I remember, Kyle said he's nasty.
He's pretty nasty. He's a little longer in the tooth.
Two-time winner of the Sawamura Award, which is the Japanese equivalent to the Cy Young Award. Yeah, he's 35, but he had a 1.67 ERA this year in NPB, which is outstanding.
Well, he's coming. He's coming to the big leagues.
All right, and according to Bowden, he has the Padres listed first on best team fits, along with Rangers, Dodgers, Orioles, Guardians, and Mets on his list for potential pitchers. So that one, and I'm glad Kyle Glazier had that for you earlier, is one that definitely to keep your kind of eyes open about this offseason if he comes over. But he'd be posted, and you'd have to, he'd be a real free agent, not the Roki Sasaki international signing.
Correct.
After that, more pitchers. Nathan Eovaldi at number 20. Who
I think he's going to be pricey.
He only predicts 2 years, 42 with a team option.
Pricey.
That's
pricey.
Free agents are pricey.
They are.
There really aren't a lot of bargains or discounts on this list. Even if you go all the way to number 45, you don't see a ton of bargains and discounts. But the other two pitchers mentioned were Nick Martinez at number 32 with the Padres.
Okay.
Reunion potentially. And then at number 44, and I didn't hate this idea. In fact, of all the ones that he mentioned, he felt almost the most Padre-ish of all. Matthew Boyd, who we saw with the Guardians in the postseason.
That's really good.
He is going to hit free agency, and he is one of the guys mentioned. Padres projects a salary of just a 1 year, $10 million kind of deal. Now, he had a really good postseason, 0.77 ERA over 3 starts.
Nasty.
Wasn't quite as good during the regular season, but he also is coming off Tommy John surgery from 2023. Looks pretty healthy, and seems if you can get like that kind of deal for a Matthew Boyd, that seems like someone that AJ would definitely be kicking the tires on this offseason.
Yeah, I don't think there's too many guys he's not going to be kicking the tires on. You're going to need a couple of those, and not even like reclamation projects from free agency. You're going to need some of those guys that are really way off of everybody's radar, and there's still guys in the system that are going to get looks. People are putting in the chat. Waldron is still going to get a look, I think, in spring training. There's talk about converting Morihone, but I don't know. I feel like you finally found your lane for Adrian Morihone. I do. I feel like you finally got that, and especially if you lose a Tanner Scott, maybe Morihone can fill that void. A guy
like a Brian Hoeing.
See, that's another one. He's pretty good in his role right now, and you do need that swing man, and he can do that and spot start if you need it, and that's a valuable role. I think with
Is it easier to convert somebody that you have, though, to a starter and go get a reliever, or go get a starter and keep them in?
I think it's probably easier.
It's cheaper to convert somebody you already have to
when
a
I say
starter
easier, I
and
mean
go get a reliever.
for AJ Preller.
Sean Reynolds, maybe. But, again, I don't know that it's tough for me to look at what I saw from Sean Reynolds and be like, oh, yeah, he profiles to give you 180 innings. I'm just not sure. And with Morihone, why take an oft-injured guy and be like, hey, let's give you a bigger workload right now and put you in the number 4 slot in the rotation?
Again, we know nothing. We'll probably end up being surprised. Remember, Kevin Acee did write of the very few things that he kind of projected that the Padres were going after at least like 2 pitchers from outside the organization.
Boyd, you got me pretty excited about Boyd.
Boyd would be
left-hander,
left-hander.
Left-hander, which we desperately need, I think. That would be fairly interesting.
Now, also of note, Bowden did not connect the Padres with any offensive free agents other than their own 2, Jurickson Profar and Ha-Seong Kim, which felt almost automatic and perfunctory, but not a single player who is from another organization did he have as a good fit for the San Diego Padres. And it didn't surprise me. I don't feel like the Padres are going to be super aggressive in adding position players this offseason. They almost have too many to begin with when it comes to where are you going to play everybody and finding anyone. If there is a change, it would probably be via a trade rather than signing another major free agent offensive player this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you can't have too much offense. And what failed us really at the end in 24 innings was our offense, certainly. So I think that probably clouds my judgment a little bit too. Of like, no, get some guys that can hit the ball out of the ballpark. Anthony Santander is a name that I've seen a few people mention that they'd be interested in. He's got he's a lot of power.
After Soto, it's Pete Alonso at number 6. Alex Bregman doesn't really seem to fit with the Padres at number 7. It's not as heavy on position players. Then Santander, Willie Adames, another shortstop. I mean, there's not a lot of easy fits, I would say, with the free agent class and the Padres. Christian Walker at first base could be maybe a dark horse kind of guy that the Padres could use a good first baseman.
So we're not in on Uncle Pete Alonso.
Not according to Jim Bowden.
Yeah, I think that's probably.
If you were going to sign a first baseman, I would say Christian Walker would probably be more of your target than necessarily a premium piece in Pete Alonso. You might get as much production, who knows, out of Christian Walker next season. I think the risk of signing Pete Alonso is pretty high for the price you're going to get and the consistency you might not get. What do you think?
I don't know, man. I mean, obviously, Pete Alonso is a 40 home run a year guy, and how does that play at Petco Park? I'm not sure, but I would not mind seeing him in the 4-hole for this team next season. But it's going to be an exorbitant amount of money. He's also a Boris guy, so I'd probably pass. And Goldschmidt's out there. I don't know that how much he's got left in the tank. Maybe something to prove. You do get the sense with a guy like Paul Goldschmidt, there may be a little bit more in there, and they did not. You know that he's done in St. Louis. Arenado's going to be done in St. Louis. I would not mind Benny adding a bat, but it can't be some insane, $13-14 million 7-year deal, $13-14 million per. It just can't for another aged guy in the infield.
Walker Buehler is an interesting name.
Well,
here.
he's priced himself out of the Padres right now.
Negative 1.3 WAR this year.
Crazy.
I mean, was going to get very little, like an incentive laden, probably come back with the Dodgers deal, and all of a sudden, he has pitched in just 3 starts. He has pitched his way back into being a potential premium free agent, almost.
Where, like, if you're the Dodgers, are you like, can we afford to let this guy go?
It's an interesting turnaround just in the matter of a couple of weeks on him as well. So those are some of the names available. It's going to be a long off season, though, and that is simply the preface, step 1. All right, we'll come back. 2 more hours of Ben and Woods. We'll reset when we return on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we are halfway home on a Tuesday. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Looks to be another lovely day out in America's finest city. Yesterday was beautiful. My God. Friggin' almost November, man.
Starting to get a little cooler.
A little chillier.
Saw the lows, at least, for the temperature over the next week are going to start hitting the 40s.
40s?
At least in Escondido.
Is this Milwaukee? What are we doing here?
And then is it not, we got to set the clocks?
Yes,
this
clocks
weekend?
are going back, which is the best time of the year.
For you.
For me, I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. Yeah, my kids will now, 7:30 bedtime will now be 5:30 bedtime. I'm going to bump it up 2 hours. It's pitch black. They have no idea. They have no idea the concept of time. So at 5:30, it's going to be, all right, let's go. Let's go do story time and brush our teeth, get everything dialed in. And I'm going to be chilling in bed at 6. This is great.
So when the weather gets cooler,
yes,
my wife said something yesterday. She said, that's when I want to start going to the movies. And I go, I think it's opposite for most people. It's like when the weather's hot, you want to get out
into
of
the cool,
heat
yeah,
and into the cool air conditioning. But when it's hot, she wants to be outside. She wants to go to the beach and do outdoor things. And when it gets cool, she wants to go and do inside things like the movies. And I disagreed 100%. I'm the other way around. I'd rather cool off at a movie theater on a hot day than be out in the heat. But she went yesterday and saw the new Saturday night movie about Saturday Night Live and raved about it. I haven't heard her rave about a movie like that in years. Absolutely loved it. And I haven't. When was the last time you actually watched Saturday Night Live? I used to watch it all the time, but 20 years ago.
I watch clips on Twitter that come out.
Yeah, I mean, I'll see the
funny.
the weekend update clips on Twitter, but actually
Not
sitting down and watching.
What time does it start? 11? I'm dead asleep.
No, they actually show it now live on the West Coast.
That's
8:30?
At
8:30,
8:30. Yeah.
Sleep.
Still Saturday night,
Yeah, man.
8:30. Woods can't make it at this point.
Very tired.
I watch it. I still watch it. I watch it on Sundays.
Oh, watch it the next day.
Yeah.
So she watched the movie, and when I got home last night, we actually went and found the archives of the first couple of episodes ever of Saturday Night with, Chevy Chase and Paul Simon was the host and musical guest. He actually played a one-on-one basketball game, as the bit, and Marv Albert was announcing it against an NBA player. It was weird to see it, the before the show became the show, and when they were still trying to feel it out. But anyway, that's what I did last night.
I did not even know that there was a Saturday Night Live movie out. I had no idea. I haven't been to a movie theater in a long time. There hasn't been one that has come on the screen that I said, I need to go see that in the theater. The one that I thought I was going to go see would be the new Joker movie, but I heard it was panned. They said it was one of the worst movies of all time.
I have heard the bad reviews as well.
And listen, you can make your own, make your own decisions. I will watch it when it's out on a streaming platform, but I probably won't go to the movies to watch it.
I haven't been to the theater since 2019.
Yeah, it's been a long,
I don't know that I'm
long
going to go back anytime soon.
Yeah.
I have no... There's been movies that have come out since 2019 where oh, you have to see it, but you got to see it in theaters. I'm I'll catch it on streaming.
Yeah, I'll just watch it on streaming. I'll be
I
fine.
got a pretty big TV. It's cool.
All these people in the chat, no one agrees with me that the daylight savings is a good thing. I love it. I couldn't be happier.
You just want to get your kids to bed earlier.
It'll be darker earlier at night.
Yeah,
that's literally, I think, your only reason.
And we get that extra hour.
We don't. Well, I mean, yes, we get an extra hour of sleep on Saturday, but you don't, because your kids will sleep the same amount that they always sleep. They don't know to sleep another hour.
They don't. But I'm fine with that. It's the fact that now it's going to be weird in a week when we're sitting in here and it's pitch black still. At this time.
No, it'll be much lighter in the morning.
No, it's lighter in the morning.
Right now,
for us.
right
now it's good.
7 a.m. It's still dark out.
That's right.
It'll be bright.
That's right.
And shining at 6 a.m. when we start our show.
I like the dark, man. I like the dark. I like putting them down early. The 7:30 almost kills me every night. So I'm bumping it up. I'll push the envelope. We'll start at 6:30, but I'm gonna push the envelope to try to get it by 6 that they're in bed every night. I need them asleep is what I need. Because they're very, very difficult to deal with. So I'm looking forward to it. Now that happens
Sunday morning.
Saturday night, early Sunday morning.
Okay, because I got Dia de los Deftones on Saturday with Bo, and I wanted to remind you guys they have released more tickets. So if you were thinking about going but there weren't tickets, they've released some more tickets. Go get those. It's such a fun night out. And then we've got a full day of baseball on Sunday. He's going to be whipped, man.
I just realized, though, that means I have an extra hour of birthday this year.
Yeah,
I have
extra-
a 25-hour
That's
birthday
right.
as opposed to a 24-hour
That's
birthday
right.
this year.
Is that the first time that's happened?
I
to
think
you?
so.
Yeah, that's
'Cause
very cool.
The daylight change used to be earlier, and they kind of moved it back, and I don't remember it ever falling exactly on my birthday before.
What are your big birthday plans?
I have, let's see, we're doing a dinner out. Shelly and I are just going to do dinner out one night. I think I'm going to go out with my boys one night and then lunch with my mom on my actual birthday.
Boys
before
like
I
your
go to work.
homies? Because we didn't get
No,
an invite.
my children.
Oh,
my
I
boys.
thought you meant like you and your boys got a
I have
reservation.
I have no other like friend plans, just family plans at this
Well,
moment.
we'll have our party
Well,
in
we
here
have
on
here, yeah,
Friday.
Friday
right.
morning,
That's
yeah.
with your boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I never really refer to you as my boys.
Really?
'Cause I refer to
Yeah,
my
we
kids
know.
We
as
know,
my
yeah,
boys.
that's true.
We're well aware.
Yeah, we're
And that would be weird to refer to my kids and you two as the same thing.
I don't even know if you refer to us as your friends. That's the other thing is I have no idea.
my good colleagues.
Colleagues, it's such a it's such a slap in the face, man. It really is.
Just
like
these two idiots that I work with.
again, if-
Highly respected
colleagues.
co-workers.
If either of us got hit by a bus, he would not miss one beat. Not one single beat.
Someone would have to keep doing the show. Do you want me to miss a beat? Is that what you're hoping for, that I'd miss a beat or two?
Yes.
I try not to miss any beats.
Adam calls him, "Hey Ben," or "Hey Ben."
Hey,
So Woods and Paul got in an accident.
they're not.
They're not
going
going to be there tomorrow.
Sammy, we
Or
got
ever.
Sammy coming in.
Ever
What are we going to
again.
do?
Are you going to be okay? Yeah, what do we got
Yeah.
tomorrow?
What's
anyways?
AJ Cassavell's on? Easy piece of cake.
All right,
Sounds
it's
good.
Big League Wednesday, okay. So it'll be you and Italian Paul?
Yeah.
Sammy?
Yeah.
Who's coming in?
Sounds good.
Let's get around the
just-
board.
No big deal. Fine, I'll do it. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh. Well, listen. Wish you a very happy 49th. It's still
Thanks.
weird that I'm older than you. It's still so weird to me that I'm older than you are. And I'll tell you, 49's been pretty good so far.
That's been a good
yeah,
one?
It's been better than 48.
Is there not that
Oh, it's
inexorable
looming. It's
ticking
looming,
clock?
yeah. Oh,
that-
bro.
I feel like once I hit 49, I go, this will be my last November 4th in my 40s. This will
Yeah.
be my last November 5th in my 40s
I'll
for
tell
an
you.
entire year.
49's been a good year. 49's been good to me, certainly. 50 awaits, and there's a milestone there, certainly. But I like how I'm bringing in my 50th birthday.
I like that you've already planned exactly what you're doing on your 50th.
Me too. It's kind of a load off,
Yeah.
right? And it's something I get to do alone, which is even better. But yeah, 49's been good, man. I'm surprised it's been this good. 48 was
I think
tough.
my late 40s better than my late 30s.
Oh, by
honestly.
far. I was a train wreck back then. So this is way, way better. Well, I'm looking forward to your birthday celebration. We've got some tricks up our sleeve.
First, we have Halloween, though.
on Friday. We got Halloween
Thursday.
on Thursday. Are you working?
Yeah.
So who hands out candy at your house? Your kids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually one of them at least is at home and doing the candy handout.
So no neighborhood goes harder than our neighborhood at Halloween. It's like nothing you've ever seen. I'll take video for you this year.
You think that, but in the North County and San Diego, it feels like every other neighborhood goes extremely hard for Halloween.
This is truly unbelievable. There's haunted houses every corner. Every house is open. I mean, they just go so big. My wife's already given me you're staying out past 7 o'clock. I don't care. There's no game that you need to see. You need to be out with your kids. So I'm staring down the barrel of probably like 5 to 9 trick-or-treating. Like, I think she's going to push the envelope on this till about 9 p.m.
What I can't understand are people who make permanent or semi-permanent changes to their appearance just for Halloween. Like cutting their hair for a Halloween costume. Our colleague down the hall, John Flint, came in clean-shaven this morning, and I have not seen him without a goatee ever, I think. And it was jarring. And I said, whoa, no, what happened? And he goes, I needed to do this for my Halloween costume. I go, that's going pretty hard, because you're still the day after Halloween, you're still going to have the clean shaven face and you're going to look weird, but Halloween will be over.
Yeah, be careful with your Halloween costumes. Again, I saw a tweet yesterday, essentially, that said some white person is setting up a Halloween costume that's going to ruin their lives and cost them their job. So
Oh, I already saw it.
I saw
already
one.
happened.
I saw a Diddy one.
Yeah.
And I think and the person that did the Diddy one, he made the crucial mistake of doing blackface, number one. So you can't do that, obviously. Use your head. But also, I would say typically stay away from Diddy.
Yeah.
Is that a fair thing to say?
Aren't you supposed to dress up as horrific monsters for Halloween?
Yes, true.
Does he not qualify?
He is a real one, though, and not a, oh, look at me, I'm Freddy Krueger.
So you can't be Jeffrey Dahmer or...
I'd say maybe now you could be Jeffrey
Yeah,
Dahmer.
Some
There
time
needs to
has
be
pass.
some lag.
I expect there to be like Menendez brothers costumes because of the Netflix show.
It's out.
That one's even questionable. I mean, it starts and stops with blackface though. Don't do that.
Don't do. OJ was huge a couple years after. I mean, the worst one I ever saw, ever. And actually, I don't get super offended by things. This one offended me. It was Payne Stewart. It was like a bloody Payne Stewart after the plane crash, and it like broke my heart. And I went, that guy's got a family, and like he didn't do anything wrong. You know what I mean? He wasn't a monster.
Right.
He's passed away. So the guy dressed up and he
with
had
the knickers.
I mean,
it's very it's easily identifiable,
easy to do,
and gruesome, which is kind of the twofer on Halloween. But in very recency that still hurts and stings.
Yeah, I'm dressing up as someone from real life.
Oh,
it's very niche.
Am I dressing up as a real life person or a fake person?
I
was a real life person last year.
You were inspired by a real person.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, last year we just put you in a tank top and called you Pat McAfee.
Which was a real life person.
And it was great.
Mean, not a horrible monster, but monstrous in some ways.
He has his moments. He's
does have his moments.
Guy, but like he catches a lot of grief.
Oh, there were a lot of Steve Irwin costumes with his,
It's tough, dude. He's a nice man.
Yeah, seemed like it.
Paulie's costume he's had several costume changes. I think what you're going with, I like. I liked your other one. I did.
Yeah.
Mine's you're not going to know it when you see it. We're going to have to do a side-by-side. But it's, I think it's appropriate, too, because I do feel like the Dodgers are about to sweep the World Series. No, I'm not dressing up as Tommy Lasorda.
I know you've already gotten my costume. I just want to say, I don't want to be Shohei Ohtani.
Oh, you won't be.
Okay, good.
That would have been funny.
That would have been really funny.
Is there going to be Dodgers with people like slings on their arms?
Him in full gear. Him in full Dodgers uniform would have been such a good troll, and now I'm pissed.
That should just be a punishment.
A punishment. Well, you called it. You said Dodgers win last night, and you said Dodgers in 5. Do you still think it's going 5? I actually don't.
I don't see. I mean, I think if they win, I think the Yankees win tonight, it's actually going 6.
Wow.
If they can win tonight, I think they'll win tomorrow. I just don't see the path for tonight. I really don't. It's baseball. That's the one unknown factor, that things can change on a dime in the sport of baseball. All it takes is a swing or two, and you get a home run, and you get a lead, and you got a chance. But this is not the matchup I would favor if I was the Yankees, with Heel going up against the Padres or the Dodgers bullpen, which has been so good.
Short leash for Heel tonight. Kevin says in the chat, this is pretty good. I'm dressing up as the Padres offense in games 4 and 5, meaning I just sit at home with everyone wondering where I'm at. I don't think we'll have anybody at our house to hand out candy. So I'm going to do the bowl.
Take one.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, do that. Why? You're not.
We have a gate,
Hold on.
away from the door.
Now this is interesting. You're going to be home.
Yeah.
And you're still not going to answer the door and hand out candy?
No, because our door is like a good 20 to 30 yards around the side of the house. It's like a side front door.
You can't just set up like a lawn chair and just wait around for people to come by?
I could. I'm specifically not going to.
Don't you want to see
I'm not going to sit outside for hours.
Don't you want to see the little kids in their costumes?
We don't have a ton of trick-or-treaters anyways, so they're just going to get the bowl treatment right outside of the gate.
And you guys will be inside with the lights off, huddling down in your room.
Yeah.
Like, oh, God. So, yeah, I think we're going to leave the bowl, but we're not going to have anybody home. I promise you, I'll try about halfway through. I'll go, hey, I'm going to head back to the house, and I'll just hand out candy and handle it. She's not going to
refill the bowl.
Refill the bowl. She's not going to let me. I'm trapped for 4 hours of these lunatics getting high off their own supply as we walk from house to house. I promise you.
See, Weston said, I think the Dodgers lose on purpose to come back to L.A. to win.
That'd be
Wood
two.
suggested that as well.
I forgot there were two.
You're not losing twice on purpose,
No.
To come back for a Game 6. If the Yankees get it back to Game 6, I'm not saying that they're going to win the series. The Dodgers will still be big favorites, but I think the dynamic of the series changes.
Oh,
there is
big time. There's
a ton,
pressure.
There would be a ton of pressure on the Dodgers in that Game 6 at home, knowing, wait, if we lose this one, our whole season now comes down to one game.
Bro, you see how loose they're playing right now? I mean, they look like they are having the time of their lives. Meanwhile, the Yankees are gritting their teeth. They can't even breathe. The pressure is completely on them. And the Dodgers are just loose and having fun. But I promise you, if it gets back to L.A., yeah, dude, it's going to get real, real tight. And they still may win the World Series, but you can't do anything until you win a game tonight. I just don't think the Yankees have it in them. I just don't think they do. It looks dire.
Crazy for a team that won, 95 games over the regular season that doesn't look like they could ever win again at this moment.
Yep.
And it's not like they're getting bodied in every game. It's 6-3 with a grand slam in the bottom of the 10th, 4-2 and 4-2, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they haven't really been in the last two, though.
But like you said, it's two late inning, ninth inning pair of runs, and it doesn't tell the whole story. They just
it's easy
look
in
lifeless.
hindsight now, but I sure felt really like, I don't know, mid to late September, the champion was going to come out of the National
Oh,
League.
yeah, for sure, man.
Quite frankly, I thought the Phillies were the most dangerous team, or standing in the Padres way, that is. And then, of course, the Dodgers. I thought the Mets would probably beat this Yankees team. Whether the Guardians got there, I don't know. Like, it just didn't feel like it was the American League's year.
Well, there, and you kind of touch on it there, but there was one big difference between the Dodgers and the Yankees all season long. Even though record-wise, 3-game difference in the regular season, I think there was one big difference, and we can talk about that. We're going to take a quick timeout. We'll check traffic. We'll come back. Bottom of the hour, don't forget, AJ Cassavell is at the World Series in New York. He's going to join us as well and talk some Padres baseball. All ahead with more Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else. Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Tell me if you agree with this. The difference between the Yankees and the Dodgers this year, I think, is actually comes down to what we're seeing right now, is that while the Dodgers were flawed, more flawed maybe than we had seen in a while, they never really went into a major lull.
No.
The Yankees did. Remember?
Well, there was a period.
I mean, the Padres made up some ground, but that was mostly because the Padres played well. Remember, the Dodgers had the second best record after the All-Star break next to the Padres, I believe.
Am I insane? I feel like they were playing like crappy 500 baseball.
They were playing. Yeah, they were
for like a month.
They had a period where they're playing around 500. The Yankees had a period where they were playing badly.
Yeah.
Remember, they started out and looked like, oh wow, the Yankees are really, really good, and then they went in around the All-Star break and just went.
Yep.
And then they kind of recovered, as you see teams do. It's not a death sentence to have a lull during the season. We've seen a lot of World Series champions. The Texas Rangers last year went on a major lull in September. Then they recovered and won the World Series. But the Yankees clearly were susceptible to going cold altogether because we saw it during the year. I don't remember ever seeing the Dodgers just go insanely cold for a month. That just didn't happen. And, they just have enough guys in their lineup that it's almost impossible that all 9 of them are just going to be struggling at the same time. Whereas the Yankees only need 2 or 3 guys to struggle, and all of a sudden they're really, really a short lineup. And that's what we're seeing in this World Series.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, the worker bees, man, the 6, 7, 8, 9s, have just been horrific for the Yankees. Now, also their 3-hole hitter has been horrific for the Yankees.
See, Kevin says August was bad for the Dodgers. How could August have been that bad if they had the second best record in baseball after the All-Star break? It couldn't have been that bad.
To look it up.
All right, let me see. Dodgers.
We'll wait.
Looking it up right now.
Yeah, Paulie's on the case. Check my texts.
Schedule, second half. No, they were never bad. They had one stretch from September 4th through September 14th, where
10
they
days?
lost 6 games in 6 out of 9. That was their worst stretch in the second half of the season.
So listen, this is why nobody should get gaslit into believing that this wasn't the team to win the World Series this year. Okay? Like,
let's see. In August, it went 19-8.
Okay, that's a very good month.
16-10 in September.
Okay, good month.
July, they went 11-13.
Okay, there you go.
They went into the All-Star break. They lost 6 of 7 going into the All-Star break. That was their worst stretch. They played.
Their month breakdown was 15-11.
At Philly and at Detroit. They had a bad road trip going into the All-Star break.
2 playoff teams.
2 playoff teams, and that was it. They had one 5-game losing streak earlier in the season as well, and that was it for the Dodgers. They never really had an extended period.
We didn't either. 5?
No, the first half of the season, the Padres had the 4 5-game losing streaks, and they were all congregated within about a month and a half, 2 months of each other. That was the Padres' lull. It wasn't as bad as the Yankees' lull. But
it was the stay afloat.
Padres' worst month was April. They went 12-15.
Yeah.
16-11 in May, 15-13 in June, 13-9 in July, 18-10 in August, and 16-8 in September.
That's unreal, man. They finished exactly doing what they needed to do, and it's crazy. But the Yankees, somebody just made the point in the chat. I love money in the chats, or I need money in the chat. Said they look like the worst first place team ever. You're absolutely right. They do. They look horrific defensively, offensively. Pitching wise, bullpen's been okay. Bullpen's actually been pretty good for them, which was not considered their strength. Their bullpen has held them in these games. Their starters have let them down. Their offense has let them down tremendously, save a couple of late inning runs, but the defense in game 1 murdered them. I mean, even Smoltz and Davis conceded on the game last night. Oh, if they just played a clean defensive game on game 1, they win that game easily. And it's so true.
You say they look like the worst first-place team ever, but, I mean, the Brewers finished in first, didn't win a playoff game, correct? The Phillies finished in first. The Astros finished in first and got knocked out early. The Guardians finished in first and lost to the Yankees, despite heroics.
Gave them a.
They did, but the Yankees aren't the worst first-place team. They're not even the worst first-place team in their own league right now.
Kyle Glazer with a tweet last night, beginning with Game 4 of the NLDS. The Dodgers are 9-2. They've outscored their opponents 70 to 33 in their last 11 games. That is the definition of getting hot at the right time.
75-33 if you count the last 6 innings of the game 3 when Walker Buehler gave up the 6 and they pulled within 1 but didn't come all the way back.
Yep.
They have been on a dominant run.
Yep.
All right, we'll come back. We will take you out to New York. AJ Cassavell of MLB.com covering the World Series. I wonder what angle he's on for the series this year. And we'll talk Padres offseason with AJ as well. Coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. I wonder, it must be a weird feeling. Maybe not. AJ's a professional, but covering the Padres all season, and now he's covering the World Series and, kind of writing a lot about the LA Dodgers. Brent Honeywell, former Padre, Freddie Freeman and his dad, some stories that he's posted for MLB.com this week. AJ standing by at the World Series in New York, going to join us right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Well, guys, we just can't seem to catch a break on our roads this morning. Westbound King Freeway at Massachusetts, accident blocking the 2 right lanes. On your way into downtown, just before 28th Street, collision over the right shoulder. Fire crews got that right lane blocked. Also going to find in the National City area, northbound 5 near Civic Center, collision involving a couple cars there over the right shoulder. Southbound 5 still clearing an accident from the Genesee off-ramp. Now further south on the 5 right before 8th Street, there is a collision in the center divide. South 163 jumping into the act now. Got this crash right before Balboa. Car and motorcycle involved. They're over to the right shoulder. And Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And joining us right now is our friend AJ Cassavell from MLB.com, Padres beat writer and currently on the World Series beat. How is New York, AJ? Good to talk to you as always.
It's always good to be here. I don't know. It's kind of it feels like the series hasn't really gotten going yet because I arrived on World Series coverage expecting this to be one that maybe went 6 or 7 games and was like an all-time classic. And after one game, it felt that way. And then all of a sudden now it feels like the series might just end before it even really got started.
Yeah, it doesn't look good for the New York Yankees, who have just not shown up offensively. And you're around there. What are the pulse of the fans, the pulse of the writers up there in New York? What are they saying?
Yeah, I think in New York, everyone wants to talk about Aaron Judge, and understandably so. Aaron Judge is, if not the best hitter in baseball during the season. He's one of the top 2 hitters in baseball. But like for me, this series has come down to more than Aaron Judge. Like you can blame Aaron Judge if you want, but the difference between the 2 teams is that if Aaron Judge struggles, the Yankees can't do anything. If Shohei Ohtani struggles, the Dodgers are deep enough where they can still go out and beat you. And I think like that's a testament to the roster building of the 2 teams. It's a testament to just roster building in general. I mean, we saw the difference between the 2023 and 24 Padres. What happens when you have a deep team with different options and different ways to beat you? You're better than when you have a few stars or a couple guys at the top of the lineup that you rely on. And the Yankees have gotten some contributions from Juan Soto and Giancarlo Stanton, but the bottom of that lineup right now is just I don't know where there's even like a threat. Like they have some guys that can get on base, they have some guys that can walk, but it gets through those. You get through Giancarlo Stanton and maybe Jazz Chisholm right now, and then you're wondering how they're going to get back to the top of the lineup with guys on base, and that's a flaw in their roster construction. And the Dodgers right now are just doing it kind of the opposite way, where the bottom of their lineup's pretty darn good.
Yeah, you're not worried so much if you're the Dodgers pitching staff. Once you get through basically Giancarlo, I mean, you're not super concerned about Jazz or Wells or Trevino or Volpe. I mean, it's just not it, man. It's just not it. There's just no firepower from those guys, and they're not getting on base. And I just think Aaron Judge in the middle. Obviously, man, when you make the money that he makes, when you have the regular season that he has, to have him look so lost at the plate is just, and this isn't the first time that's happened to Aaron Judge in the postseason. That's a tough narrative to carry around on those massive shoulders in that city your entire career.
Yeah, and you wonder if he's going to get back here. Like, this is kind of what he's worked his whole career for, and now the Yankees are one loss away from facing this offseason where they don't know if they're going to get Juan Soto back. They, like we just talked about, they have a whole bunch of roster construction flaws. There's some good young teams in the American League. I will say, I mean, the Yankees are probably lucky they're not in the National League. I've been watching this series and watching the way the Yankees play, watching their lineup. And I think probably 4 National League teams would beat them in the World Series. Probably, like, this version of the Yankees probably beat them pretty easily, the 4 teams that were last, the Mets, Phillies, Padres, and Dodgers. I think it might be 7. Like, the Braves and the Brewers and even the Diamondbacks might have beaten this team. Like, the National League, the way the second half unfolded was a whole lot more competitive than what it was in the American League. So maybe there is a path for the Yankees moving forward. That being said, yeah, I mean, Aaron Judge's struggles, they're very pronounced, like I said, because of the lack of depth in this lineup. But And so I think like that's maybe the main flaw, but it doesn't make his struggles any less real. Like he and Shohei Ohtani both only have one hit, and the Dodgers are thriving. But Ohtani's at-bats have at least been better. Aaron Judge has looked lost at times. He's behind on the fastball. He's chasing pitches that I don't watch a ton of the Yankees, but every time I do, he's at least patient enough at the plate to lay off those breaking pitches out of the zone, and he usually does a lot of damage on them. So this is not the version of Aaron Judge I've ever seen before, and it's a version. Look, he's one of the best hitters. He's one of the best hitters in baseball. He's one of the best hitters we will ever see, probably. And for all of that to kind of go out the window in the postseason, it's a tough narrative to have, especially in a city like this one.
If you're right about the Yankees, just not being good enough to beat any of those National League teams, and I suspect you probably are, AJ, then this is not really on Aaron Boone as the manager. However, you will question some of the decisions. The biggest one, obviously, bringing in Nestor Cortez there in Game 1 instead of Tim Hill. Tim didn't exactly disprove Aaron either or maybe he did when he went in and got the heart of the order when he came in yesterday. I don't know that you can, it's apples and oranges a little bit, but that's probably the one decision he might want to have back.
Yeah, I think that's the one. Aaron Boone's taken a lot of heat, and it's honestly, it's kind of fun. That's the fun thing about a World Series like this, where a lot of people are watching. I'm getting texts from people who I don't normally associate with watching non-Padres baseball that are into it and mad about Aaron Boone's decisions. Nestor Cortez or Tim Hill, there were a few Game 1 decisions that were really questionable that he drew a lot of criticism for the next day. I thought he got pretty much all of them right, and then the Cortez Hill one is the one where I'm not around the Yankees. I generally defer if it's a choice between two pitchers of the same hand, two left-handed pitchers. Like I'll generally defer to the manager because I think he knows better with the matchups and what each guy's got. But I also know Tim Hill pretty well, and he doesn't seem to be the kind of guy who would let the moment get to him. That being said, like you still got to face Shohei Ohtani and presumably walk Mookie Betts, or maybe not, and then face Freddie Freeman. It probably, I don't want to say probably, but the chances are when you have bases loaded and 3 Hall of Famers coming up and you're clinging to a 1-run lead, whoever you throw in there is going to have a tough time getting those out.
Yeah, no question about it. Talking to AJ Cassavell here on Ben and Woods this morning. Let's pivot to the Padres a little bit. We did the futile exercise earlier about Jim Bowden's list of who the Padres may target. And, none of us really have a sense of what to expect until you start to see. Last year was easy. I mean, you knew Juan Soto was going to go. The only thing you were waiting to see was what's the return going to be? Is it going to be enough? It's probably never going to be enough, but can we stomach this and move on? This year's a little bit different, AJ. How are you when you look at the Padres, coming back in 2025? What's the sense you get?
It'll be an interesting offseason because, like you said, last offseason was what it was. They got themselves into a place where, I mean, had they kept Juan Soto, they're probably not in the playoffs, and they're probably losing him right now for nothing. So they set themselves up at least decently well by adding Michael King and Dylan Cease going forward. The Joe Musgrove injury throws a little bit of a wrench into it because now all of a sudden, I think if you go into next season with a healthy Joe Musgrove, the need for starting pitching is maybe a little less urgent. I think you're still looking, but you're maybe not looking for that Musgrove caliber arm. I think the Padres need that kind of arm now. I think they can't go into next season. They've got a front three of Yu Darvish, Dylan Cease, Michael King, and that's pretty darn good. But without Musgrove there, and knowing what starting pitching is and how volatile it is and how susceptible guys are to injuries or struggles or whatnot, with Musgrove having had surgery and out for the 2025 season, I think that's suddenly an area of need. There's obviously areas of need offensively, and maybe you can use a left-handed arm in the bullpen. But that's probably where I think the focus would be. AJ Preller's done a great job, obviously, in the past of finding those kinds of starting pitchers in trades. I don't know what other teams view his farm system as right now and how highly thought of it is after all the trades he made, but I do know he's outstanding at replenishing it. So yeah, I mean, I guess if we're tiering what the Padres' needs are, the replacement type guy for Joe Musgrove maybe at the top, and then obviously re-signing Profar or finding a bat that can do what he can do, and then filling out some of the bench pieces and the depth pieces that, like I said earlier, made them so effective in 2024.
Talking to AJ Cassavell, Padres beat writer, MLB.com, covering the World Series this week. And AJ, you also wrote about the Padres farm system this week, in particular the two biggies at the top, Ethan Salas and Leonidas DeVries. And while Jackson Merrill was a revelation, what's your opinion on how the Padres will proceed with those two guys? Will we see them in 2025 at some point? Because honestly, if they did come up and have a Jackson Merrill type trajectory, that would solve a lot of problems for the San Diego Padres. Both of those guys right there together. But I think you also have to be cautious with two kids who are still incredibly young and not being overly aggressive with their arc.
Yeah, and they're two positions of obvious need. So like you said, like that would solve some problems for the Padres. But those two positions are premium positions where I think it's tougher for a guy to just break right through and become productive. Now, I guess that's kind of the Jackson Merrill trajectory. I thought last season, I thought as highly of Jackson Merrill as anyone, and I thought the Padres were maybe a little naive for throwing him into the fire as a center fielder who'd never played there before. I was wrong. So maybe there is something that one of those guys can prove in spring training and make that ascension to the big leagues as quickly as Merrill did. Both those guys are younger. Both those guys have development ahead of them. I don't think the Padres are at all going to enter the season planning on that being their option. I think what they're going to do is look in free agency or in the trade market or wherever they can acquire a catcher and or a shortstop / if not a shortstop, they move guys around and acquire that extra bench piece or whatever. Like they're going to look for short-term options because they know that they're pretty well set in the long term because they have DeVries, because they have Salas. And so I don't think they're on a Jackson Merrill trajectory. That was kind of maybe the point of what I was writing was AJ Preller. It's always hard to kind of read between the lines with what he says. But with what he said there, I think he kind of views it that way. I think he said we look at everyone individually. It's not Jackson Merrill did this, so now these guys can do this. Those guys have to produce like Jackson Merrill did and make it very clear to the Padres that they're on that kind of trajectory. Because you look back to last spring training, and I mean, if you just threw someone who knew nothing about baseball and had them watch a month of spring training, you'd say, well, that guy won the center field job easily. I think those guys will get a chance. We will see them in spring training most likely. But to ask them to go on the Jackson Merrill trajectory when like very few people in baseball history have done so, I think that's probably unlikely.
Last thing for me, AJ, and I guess I always want to try to parse why I got something so wrong. And when it came to the Dodgers this postseason, the one thing I thought that I knew was that they did not have enough starting pitching to carry them through the playoffs. And you can't rely on your bullpen, even a good one, that much over, 3 series to get to a world championship. And unless something incredible happens, I'm going to be very wrong there. Why, other than just it's baseball, why was I so wrong about the Dodgers pitching rotation? Because it's been really good.
My answer is going to be that it's been good, but they have relied heavily on their bullpen. They've used some off days, and their offense has been what's mostly carried them until we've gotten to the World Series. Now we're in the World Series, and the Yankees bats are struggling. I'm maybe the last one to buy into the Dodgers rotation. I don't know. I still see the same fatal flaws you see. I just think they have the bullpen to make up for it. I mean, they bullpen gamed their way to a Game 4 victory. Their offense is what did it against the Mets, and now the Yankees' offense is struggling, and I think the Dodgers have turned in some excellent pitching performances in the World Series. I'm not gonna deny them that, and they have good pitching, good starting pitching. I wouldn't have called it World Series caliber starting pitching before the postseason, but they're also elite game planners. They're elite at figuring out how to get those 27 outs that they need. I think for whatever the narrative of Dave Roberts is in San Diego right now, like he's managed a pretty good postseason, and he's known when to get those guys out of there and go to his bullpen, which has been good. And that bullpen has hung on by a thread when a lot has been asked of it, and that's why I think the Dodgers are where they are right now.
Yeah, he's been damn near flawless for the first time.
Even
in his
Woods has to
postseason
acknowledge.
career. Of course. I mean, look, listen, without having Clayton Kershaw on your roster to try to get 17 innings in 3 games, that's probably helped him tremendously. They're like, Dave, you can't use him. He's not available. Oh, all right, well, guess I'll have to use somebody else. I mean, truly, like I say that as a joke, but it's not a joke. Kyle Glazer sat in here and went through like the 17 worst mistakes he's made in the postseason, like 14 of them had Clayton Kershaw in it. It's insane to think about. He's a great pitcher, but you know those moments in October, he has buried that team, and without the need to find a slot for him to get his moment, Dave has been spectacular.
Yeah, and he's done some weird things in the past that always feel like he's being impulsive. And Kershaw is the obvious one,
right?
But and off the top of my head, I can't recall specific examples from 2018 or whatever. But it seems like he's done what his impulses have been, and I think this postseason, without doing that and kind of just managing his way through games relatively by the book.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like these decisions have been Dave Roberts going with his gut. It seems like last night, Walker Buehler had faced that lineup twice. Walker Buehler has not been that good this year. He faced the lineup twice and gotten outs, and he hadn't allowed a run, but the Yankees were starting to hit him. You manage by the book, you take him out. You manage with your gut, maybe you say, well, he's dealing, he's gone through 5 scoreless innings, and that's where you run into some trouble and where he has in the past. And he's kind of stuck to the script. He knows the guys that he has, and I keep waiting for that impulsive mistake.
Yes.
I was waiting for it in the Padres series. I was waiting for it. I guess
Never
the Mets
happened.
series, there weren't many managerial decisions for him to mess up because every game was a 5 or 6 run game one way or another.
Yep.
AJ, we're out of time.
Thank you, brother.
Safe
Got in the World
travels,
Series,
man.
right.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All
Yeah,
right,
thanks, guys. Talk
AJ
soon.
Cassavell, MLB.com. We're at the end of the hour. Paulie's got a Reindl Report. More coming up next year on The Fan. Our thanks again to AJ Cassavell from MLB.com joining us from the World Series and talking about how the Dodgers pitching staff surprised him, surprised me, surprised you, Woods, this playoffs. And just thinking about it, one thing that you never account for is simply run distribution. Jack Flaherty got hit around in a game. Yoshinobu Yamamoto got hit around. But they just let it be in one game every time. And like, all right, you lose that one. But you can lose games and still win a World Series.
Yeah, you have to.
And then when they were good, they were good. Walker Buehler got hit around in his one game, his one inning, and they lost that one. And when Yamamoto got hit around, they actually came back and won that one against the Padres. When Flaherty got hit around, they lost that game. But then when they were good, and they have
elite adjusting.
When they had plenty of offense for when the guys gave up one or two, no problem. When we got a good bullpen, and when you're bad, all right, we just lose that one, and you move on to the next game and go ahead and still win the series. It's just run distribution has worked out very well for the Dodgers this postseason.
Well, and I'll tell you what else has been tremendous for them. It's been defense. Defense has been spectacular. The placement of where the Dodgers are in the infield. Tommy Edman, I can think of, Tommy Edman has been the defensive star of that team. Mookie made a really nice play last night, but Tommy Edman, I believe it was in game 2, was positioned right in that gray area up the middle where you can kind of be.
Yeah.
There were 2 shots that he took away. Then there was the dive that he made across second base bag, knocked that, kept that ball in the infield, saved a run. Jazz Chisholm would have scored. Tommy Edman's been spectacular. They've put him in center. They put him at short. I refer back to that.
Now, that's not to say the Yankees don't know what they're doing with positioning. I think the Padres were good at positioning all season long.
I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the runs that they have saved have been spectacular.
Does it not feel like every hard hit ball, even
right
in the
at
outfield,
right at
Teoscar's in perfect position. Mookie in perfect position.
Whoever's playing center that day, perfect
that's
position.
getting over his head.
Yeah,
no, 2 steps back.
It's been insane, man. And I think about even some of the hits that Shohei had early, the ones where he takes that mighty swing. I mean, think about how we carved Shohei up. You got 2 broken bat singles. And Merrill is playing on the wall because you have to, because it's Shohei Ohtani, and it's just like, man, they are everything.
And Manny buys some of those. Tatis buys some of those because they get played deep because they're dangerous. When they miss hit one, it turns into a hit rather than an out.
They are right where they need to be every single time. Listen, like I said, I'm a hater. I'm not an idiot. It's a good baseball team. Again, let's not. And when they win tonight, and they talk about all that they've had to overcome, they were still picked to win the World Series. They were the World Series favorites, okay? Bar none. Going into the playoffs at the beginning of the season, I'm not going to get gaslit. I'm not going to tell you you're a bad baseball team that got lucky, but I'm also not going to be gaslit.
We want things to make sense, and there's that dissonance of knowing this isn't the best Dodgers team we've seen.
Not that we've seen.
We've seen much better, deeper,
Not hungrier, though. I mean,
but this one's played the best in the postseason by far.
Yep.
They didn't have the talent necessarily, certainly not the starting pitching talent that some of these other Dodgers teams have had, but this one has played the best and the most together and most inspired baseball of any of them this year in particular. And I don't know that I really would have thought that. Shohei Ohtani, I think it was Buster Olney wrote about, or Jeff Passan wrote about it. He sent him a text like, hey, we're gonna. I may have a dislocated shoulder, but we're gonna win this. Like group text. Like, is that real? Is that great leadership? I don't know if Shohei Ohtani is considered a leader of that team, but it's worked out well for them this postseason.
I think they have a few. I mean, Freddie is obviously leader of that team,
but he was on the team last year.
Yeah, Mookie's a leader of that team. They have a bunch. They're a good team. I mean, 3 MVPs at the top. Let's not gaslight everyone into thinking that the Dodgers weren't supposed to win a World Series. All right, congrats. You're going to win a World Series, but you're supposed to win a World Series. I'm not taking anything away from you. You really played your asses off. You've decimated and dominated your competition. You came back with your backs against the wall, down 2-1. 100% deserve it. But you're always supposed to win the World Series. Always. You're going to be, as soon as you wrap it up today, you're the favorites for next year. Just so you know, you're the favorites.
Before you've even signed Corbin Burns or Juan Soto or whatever you're going to go out and do this offseason.
Congrats. It's what you guys are supposed to do every single year. That's it. You did it. The check cleared. You got it. It's happening.
Unless it doesn't. And then we'll talk about it.
Yes.
If it doesn't.
It's always the double-edged. Like, you obviously don't want to see the Dodgers win the World Series, but also means baseball's over, which is like the double whammy. It's always the kick in the nuts anyway when baseball ends, no matter who hoists the
I'll be
trophy.
okay with it being over because then I feel like I can fully focus on, like, next season. You know what? Win or lose, the Dodgers season,
it's over.
It ends.
Do it again.
And now you got to start working on next year. You're 0-0.
Yep.
After tonight, if the Dodgers win, their record is 0-0.
Correct.
Just like the Padres, just like the White Sox. You got to put together another team, and that process starts
all over again.
Possibly tonight.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. 162 plus the playoffs and all that, and you win, you celebrate. They'll do their parade, and then it'll be all right. Well, it's time to focus on 2025. What is that walking towards me in the hall? Oh, that's somebody in costume.
That's John.
That's John. That scared me to death. Is he the Joker?
I don't know what that was.
I don't know exactly.
He's
he's
in
like
whiteface.
a Scream mask.
He's in whiteface. Whiteface, okay for white people.
He looked like the Scream mask, but painted on, not like a mask.
Yeah, he was in the men's room applying some makeup and temporary face tattoos, and
I think that's
a
the Joker.
zombie jelly roll, maybe.
What are you supposed to be? Oh, me? I'm zombie jelly roll. I'm not okay.
Because I'm
Give me some candy.
I tried to get my almost 4-year-old Taylor, who has the curly hair, to dress up as M.R. And he refuses. I can get the costume.
Big bomber class before busting on me head.
Like,
none of his friends will have any idea who he
cares? His friends don't even know. What are you? He's dressed as a Padre. I'm like, you literally, I put your hair in a ponytail. I put you in like Jamaican clothes, like the Rasta clothes. You're M.R.
That's just for you.
Would there be a funnier picture than that one? Him as M.R. He won't do it. He refuses. I'm his father. I could make him do it, but I want him to have a good time. Him walking up, singing Big Bomba Class at people's houses. To
Big bomber class before busting on me head.
No one gets that joke.
I
other
don't
than you.
care. It's so funny. He looks just like him. All right.
All right, Paulie.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Gentlemen, we will start off in Major League Baseball. I wasn't sure if this was a little mean to do or not, but it went viral yesterday. Our old pal, John Sterling, we missed him. Was that last week we tried to get him on?
Yeah, he overslept, and he's just old.
Last
He's
week,
86 years old. He
wasn't
overslept.
feeling well. No, he was sick.
He's
He was
sick.
Yeah.
And he slept, though. He was asleep when we called him.
Yeah, I may have woken him up.
Correct.
Yeah. But he got fooled yesterday in the bottom of the 4th inning. Aaron Judge at the plate. Did this fool either of you guys?
I did. I got fooled.
I got fooled.
I thought he got it.
I
and
got
was
fooled.
I was surprised how quickly it died.
And the breaking ball, there it goes. Deep left center field, and Teoscar is there to make the catch. Oh, did I get fooled on that?
I love it.
With that swing and the ball majestically going to left field, Susan, I actually thought it was going to be out,
I did too.
and it wasn't close.
It was not close.
John's got 40
I mean, it
years
didn't
on
die
me.
at the warning track.
No, it was not
It
close.
was a shallow-ish
Did
fly ball.
Teoscar even have to move?
No,
I mean,
just
he was
right there in his
camped
tracks.
under it.
Yeah.
And the breaking ball, there it goes. Deep left center field, and Teoscar is there to make the catch.
Sweet angel. I'm not going to rip on John
No,
because I believe it
Yeah,
too.
it's just.
I'm sure he
end
laughed
of the
about
bat. Maybe a bad bat. The dead part of the
Yeah.
end of the bat
Yeah.
just came off really
And
soft.
the breaking ball, there it goes.
There it goes right to the left
Teoscar.
fielder.
Sammy Levitt's in studio, by the way. We haven't even refused to acknowledge him.
We're going to give him a full segment.
Oh, we are? Okay.
Yes, we just decided
Sammy.
to
I didn't hear
wait
that.
for a second.
Hi, Sammy. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah.
You can say hi.
I'm good. Hi.
Hi.
Miss your face.
All right, we'll see what Sammy thinks about this next story. Woodsy actually brought this to our attention. Old Lincoln Riley is at it again.
Oh, he's up to his old tricks. Old big game Lincoln. Look at you, Ben.
USC beat writer Ryan Carte, he posted yesterday on X that USC is closing practice access
here we go
to
again.
reporters for the rest of this season, a spokesperson said. Media will still have interviews after practice, but there will be no viewing periods. And then he followed that up to say, needless to say, this is very disappointing. The only explanation from USC has been that Lincoln Riley plans to continue the new itinerary of practice the team used last week with team periods first. And he says, so the media has accidentally lost its access in the shuffle. Now, they did this last year.
They did it last
with
year.
Caleb Williams.
Yeah, he's a big protector of his players.
Is that a bad thing?
Yeah.
It's a bad look.
It's a bad look.
I would think if you're actually a reporter, you're secretly going, there's nothing more boring than sitting and watching football practice, and now I don't have to do it.
But it gives you the thing where you can have your moral high ground, which is what every reporter wants, and what every coach wants, and what everybody wants.
So in reality, and I've covered football practices before. They only let you usually observe the stretching and the individual portions where they're like practicing handoffs and snaps and stuff. Nothing that is going to give away any strategy. At that point, they want to make sure that no one's there so they can't. Oh, I saw them working tweet out, hey, they're working on a new fake punt here for the game this week. So yes, it really is pointless as a reporter generally to be watching practice other than maybe observing like, oh, this injured player is not working or he is working, and that's all you can really see. And then after 15 minutes, you go off to a trailer somewhere, and then at the end of practice, you do your interviews. It's not that big of a deal, but PR-wise, it's a bad look.
Yeah, bad look for PR.
For a team that's already struggling and disappointing.
Yeah.
All right, and then finally to wrap it up.
Not surprised, though. That's the Lincoln Riley way. He did it at Oklahoma. I warned you, man. I did. I warned you when you hired him, Ben. When you made the decision to pay him.
Actually, not a huge Lincoln Riley
pay
fan.
him
Never
how
have
much
been.
a year? 11?
I think it's $132 million a year or something.
His buyout right now is $90 million.
Very affordable.
If they wanted to
USC.
buy him out, it would cost them $90 million.
Chump change, as they call it at USC.
True.
I think.
It's true. Man, I warned you about him when you made this decision.
All right, and then we will wrap it up with
Coach Freeman could
some
never, by the way.
Hollywood and sports gossip. Gisele Bündchen, congratulations.
Saw this.
She is expecting. She and her partner, Joaquim Valente, the jiu-jitsu partner that she linked up with after her and Tom Brady divorced.
Before they divorced.
Yes.
It may have been.
No, they was.
They may have
separated or
separated.
something
Right.
at that point. But.
And then the divorce, yes. They, she
I
cozied up with
don't
him
follow
really quickly.
I don't follow the tabloids when it comes to the Brady and Giselle stuff much. What was the deal? So, who had the kids going into the marriage already?
He did. He
had him with.
He had one.
with Bridget.
He had one.
He had
Bridget Moynihan.
one. And then
Yep.
did she have any? She
No.
didn't have any. Did she want kids and he didn't want more? Is
Yes.
that what we're
No, they
speculating?
have
two.
kids.
They have their own kids
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
They have two children together, and then Tom's he's a very good dad with his
Yep.
other
Yeah.
son.
Okay.
And then now she has her own with Joaquim
Joaquim.
Valente.
Yep.
And not that anyone
So
really
what do we
cares.
think
TMZ
actually
did say
happened
that
between
she
the
reached
two?
out to Tom ahead of time.
Yeah,
and
she told him.
She gave him the
Now-
heads up. Hey, this is probably going to be news.
This is the interesting part was that Tom Brady went to his Instagram and posted like us, like what he's just one of us, posted a picture of the sunset with the Dixie Chicks landslide playing in the background.
What does that
which
mean,
is,
Woods?
You're
a music person. What,
Paulie, give us
what's
some
the meaning?
Give us some landslide
of the Chicks. It's just the Chicks.
The Chicks,
now.
sorry.
Landslide. The cover of
of Stevie
Fleetwood
Nicks.
Mac.
Yeah, Fleetwood Mac.
Is that a sad song, would you
Yeah,
say?
it's like one of the more heartbreaking songs I think
so
you can.
he's sad about this?
Yeah,
or?
I think, it's tough.
I'll
It's
pull
tough.
it up here as we go to break.
Yeah.
Poignant, what would you say?
In the lyrics, I took my love, I took it down, climbed a mountain, and
And I turned around, and then I saw my reflection in the snow-covered hills until a landslide brought me down. Mirror in the sky, what is love? Can the child within my heart rise above? Can I sail through the changing ocean tides? Can I handle the seasons of my life? Now, I don't know what part he picked because you only get a certain number, certain amount of
15
seconds.
seconds
15
or something,
seconds.
yeah.
So I think it depends on what he actually picked.
Is it possible he just made a post and it just
Well, he
suggested
chose.
randomly?
I got it right here.
All right, Paulie's got
His
it.
part of the song was, "Oh, mirror in the sky, what is love? Can the child within my heart rise above? Can I sail through the changing ocean tides?"
This is emotional.
Do you feel like he was hoping to get her back at some point, and this is more closing that door? Is he a heartbroken man, Tom Brady?
I think Tom is okay. I think he's going to be fine.
So you think he's okay?
Yeah, I think it's an emotional thing. So your partner moves on and has a family.
If he had posted, say, celebration from Kool and the Gang, would that have a different meaning?
It would have a little bit different. Yeah, just a sunrise.
That'd be a bad look.
He's he's one of us. It's got to be tough. I think they're still co-parenting, and I don't know them, but from what I read, that they're still co-parent and everything like that. So, but yeah, Tom Brady getting emo on Instagram last night with the chicks was not what I expected. But he's one of us.
Thank you, Paulie.
Thank you,
You're
Paulie.
welcome.
All right, we got Sammy in studio. Now, you're very excited, and I realized. See, I had Sammy in studio for a whole show last week when you were gone.
Yeah.
But you didn't get to enjoy
I did not. I
Sam
was so
the way
excited.
I did. So I'll let you just enjoy Sam in our next segment.
Be happy to.
When we come back after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
right, here we go. Black 17 on. That is my number. All right, hit me.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
All right, here we go.
This segment of Bennett Woods brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. Buffalo Wild Wings is football, and B-Dubs is kicking off football season with 2 limited-time sauces. We're actually about halfway through the football season now. Try their new Buffalo Bacon Sauce for bold notes of smoky bacon, or get the fan-favorite hot barbecue before it's gone. Try them at your local B-Dubs, or order now for takeout and delivery with Buffalo Wild Wings Go. And with that, Woods would like to welcome Sam Levitt into the program.
Sammy, thanks for filling in for me last Wednesday when
you got it.
We went off to Disneyland. What were your impressions of the Ben and Woods? You had to do the 4-hour show, didn't you?
I did the 4-hour show. We had a great time. We talked about the Padres. We talked about other stuff.
Still a little more raw last Wednesday than even today. You know, time heals all wounds. You do at some point have to turn the page and look ahead. I always look forward to baseball season, no matter how poorly the last one ended. This one was the hardest one, though, since I've been here. It was the toughest one to kind of stomach, and it all changes, though. You get out there to spring training, and you'll be out there first, I'm sure, and you see the guys and see what they've added. And, yeah, I mean, it's I try not to let myself get in the dark like what Adam Klug is going through right now is he's in a dark place a little bit because he was a big Freddie Freeman guy when he was with the Braves, and I stopped him in the hallway and I go, hey, by the way, how do you let a guy like that walk away?
Yeah,
when you have the money to do it, right?
And it's not like Freddie didn't want to come back. He cried.
He cried. He wept
when he couldn't come back.
He was weeping openly about wanting to stay in Atlanta, and they're like, "Sorry, bud, you're on your ass." And Atlanta wins the World Series with him, and then you let him go. And I said to Adam, I go, "Man, that's the interesting thing." And trust me, the San Diego Padres have hired their fair share of mercenaries over the years, the last few years especially.
With mixed results.
With mixed results. There is something to be said, though, looking at the Dodgers roster and going, that's one of the Braves' generational superstars, along with the Angels and Japan's generational superstar.
Along with the Red Sox.
Generational superstar, who you got nothing for. Nothing. One of the worst trades in history. Thank God we got Don Orsillo, because, other than that, it is, you look at that and you go, okay, there's nothing illegal about what they're doing. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with what they're doing, but is that what we love the most about sports? I don't know. I'm asking you. Feels pretty damn good to be up 3-0 in a World Series, I bet, if you're a Dodger fan, so you don't really care how you got there. I grew up a Yankee fan. Sammy, you grew up a Met fan. You didn't care. As long as you got there and won the chip, you don't care how you got there, and you put a lot of things aside. But Adam's in the chamber, man, thinking about how you let a guy like Freddie Freeman walk when he was pretty much the heart and soul of that team and wasn't declining.
Right. I think what's interesting, too, about the Freeman part of it is if he ends up playing a while longer, and he will presumably with the Dodgers, and I don't mean to put this into the universe, but let's say they do a lot. They're going to do a lot more winning, whether they win World Series.
Yeah, they're going to win a lot more games.
Could he be a Hall of Famer as
Absolutely.
a Dodger instead of a Brave?
Absolutely.
That would be sort of interesting. Look, I think what's interesting about this particular Dodgers team in this year, to me, is that it felt like heading into the postseason, this was the weakest they've been in a while, and now they're probably going to win the World Series. I really didn't see this Dodgers team with how in shambles their pitching was, and especially their starting pitching. I didn't see them winning the World Series this year. And look, I sort of agree with AJ Cassavell's tweet yesterday that, look, I think when you look at the rest of the field, it's sort of a weird feeling knowing that the Padres probably were the best team the Dodgers faced along the way here, and it will leave you wondering. And I heard, part of the first hour talking about how much you'll think about that and how much that might burn over time, how much it might sting over time. It's going to be an interesting part of it to think that if they would have just found a way in a Game 5 or even in a Game 4, that maybe this could have been the year, but we'll never know.
Baseball players we talk to every year. We really go almost wall-to-wall baseball during the season. And I always ask Jesse Agler, that was a crap game last night. How do you think the guys are? They're fine. They've turned the page. They're on the plane. They're smiling. They're having a cocktail. They're reading a book. They're texting their wife, whatever. Like, they move on. You have to in 162. I'm always interested in spring training because we asked them last year, hey, how bad did that suck? And they said it was terrible. We hated it. We were embarrassed. I want to ask them the same thing this year, and I'm really interested to see what they think, because I know the fans, we take it with us a lot. We carry it around a lot. Paulie, we were talking about it earlier, 24 straight innings. Yeah, I think a kid like Jackson Merrill, I wonder if he sat and watched this World Series and was just sick to his stomach knowing what we all think.
And that's probably true. But there's no indication that the Padres didn't win the World Series because they didn't try hard enough or care hard enough or put enough work into it. Jackson Merrill certainly did. That wasn't the issue. So, do you go back and you need more motivation to win the World Series?
He was also in attendance for Game 2, which I liked that.
Yeah, well, he was getting an award. Yeah. So he got to be in there.
But you know what I'm saying?
Experience.
In football, it's very easy to go, all right, we just need a little more heart and a little more, intensity and effort, and we can get to that next level. Baseball doesn't work that way. I don't think the Padres lacked even a tiny bit of heart or effort this season. That's not why they didn't win the World Series.
I'm not saying that at all. I think they showed tremendous heart all of the season. The most inspiring team in baseball, by far, the way they played. It was other teams looked at how they played and they went, "This is unbelievable what they're doing."
And if they did anything wrong, there's nothing they can do to correct it until they get to the next postseason and have a lead and need their offense not to disappear.
Yeah.
Well,
so I mean, you can't really change anything or correct anything until at least October of next year.
More of not. Hey, what did you work on this offseason? Going the other way? No, more of like, how bad did that one sting for you? Because we do get the sense sometimes as fans, like we feel like we hate the Dodgers more than they hate the Dodgers because they're in the same fraternity and they're hugging each other and they probably fish together in the offseason, right? But how bad did it sting for Manny and Xander and Jackson and those guys, the core of this team, and Tatis that are going to be coming back?
Let me ask you this question, both of you. Do the Dodgers take any lessons from this season going forward? Like, we need to be less dominant next year. Like, I mean, in all likelihood, they're going to come back with Shohei Ohtani being able to pitch, probably getting some of their, Dustin May, some of their other pitchers healthy. They may sign a free agent or two. They could end up another 110, 115 win team with nothing to play for in August and September. And if they lose in the playoffs, are they going to go, well, that was dumb. We did too well again in the regular season. We didn't learn the lessons of 2024 when we had to scuffle and struggle and, pull one out with less than a full pitching staff to win a World Series. Is that the lesson that the Dodgers learned this year?
Save it. We'll come back with it.
Okay.
We'll finish with that.
That's a little bit of a tease. We will get to that and any thoughts that you have on Game 4 tonight of the World Series, including what does history tell us about the Yankees' chances? Obviously not of winning the series. No one's ever done that in a World Series, but even stretching it to a Game 5. I got the numbers for you when we come back with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All right, so what lessons, if any, assuming the Dodgers wrap this thing up, what lessons do they take from this World Series title on, presumably their desire to win another one next year?
I don't think anything,
going forward.
I would presume.
Yeah, I don't think anything changes for them. I do think it's a tremendous amount of pressure off their shoulders.
Is that good or bad?
For who? For
the
us,
Dodgers.
terrible.
No, the
It's
Dodgers.
good for them.
Is it good?
Yeah.
I mean, they had a lot of pressure this year.
And they
Maybe
won.
they had less pressure. I don't know.
No, I think I think they're going to.
All I'm saying is it's hard to recreate the circumstances of this run for the Dodgers.
Which is why you never try to recreate any It's going.
But that's all GMs ever try to do. If they can't recreate their own circumstances, they look to another team and try to copy
their
what they
circumstances.
did. That's all GMs do is copy to try to win a World Series. Yet, as you just said, it's impossible to recreate the actual sequence of events that turns into a World Series championship for any team.
Well, let me tell you this right now. As great as 24 was for Padres fans, I don't think you can go in, even if you brought back the exact same team.
Of course not.
And say, oh, well, obviously we're going to dominate in extra innings. Obviously we're going to dominate late in games. Obviously the seventh inning, we're going to average 5 runs. Like all the things, it could go, and let's be honest, it will go completely different. There'll be a new narrative that forms around it.
Do you believe that it is almost a requirement that a team overcome some sort of adversity to win a title?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
I mean, but I think every baseball team deals with some
adversity,
level of adversity.
But the Dodgers,
it felt like the Dodgers had way more adversity
this year
than in years past.
They have been, every team deals with some injuries and stuff, but for the last decade, in terms of getting to the playoffs, the Dodgers have dealt with very little stress and adversity. They simply go out, they win their 100-plus games, and then they get to the postseason in cruise control mode when all of a sudden they have to flip a switch. And this year was different. This year, of course, the Padres battled them right to the very end. While their playoff position was fairly secured, everything else was pretty much up in the air. And I'd never say as a team, that's really what we want. We don't want to run away with our division. We don't want too big of a lead in September, because when you do that, sometimes you don't even make the playoffs at all. You miss it entirely. So you never would want to try to recreate that. But do the Dodgers win this World Series if they had cruised in 10 games up, if they had done what we thought they were going to do and win 105, 110 games? Are they still here winning the World Series, or is it not the same team because they didn't have to overcome the adversity that they overcame that gelled them together or made other guys step up that wouldn't have had to step up in circumstances? I don't know the answer to that question. I'm just kind of throwing it out there.
No, but I do think there's a way to look at what the Dodgers did this year, and I think the Dodgers. I've made the joke before of if you're Andrew Friedman and the Dodgers brass, you look at a guy like Tyler Glass now and you say, Tyler, we signed you to a lot of money. We don't need you to win games in April, May, June, July.
Right.
That's for Ben Kasparius. That's for Dustin May coming back. That's for, you name it, give Bobby Miller another shot, see if he can figure it out. Tyler, we don't need you in April, May, June, July. Hell, we don't even really need you in August. Let's get you some late August, September, and cruise into October, because with a weapon like him, that is a frail weapon. What are you pushing Tyler Glass now to 6 innings for in April or May? What are you doing it for?
Yeah,
He's got a long enough track record. You know what you're going to get.
I think that's a really good point, and maybe you're unlocking something that we don't necessarily think about, and that is some sort of load management, almost like they do in the NBA, right?
Yep.
To limit somebody like that, a pitcher like Glass now, who is really injury prone,
Correct.
continues to be really injury prone. That's pretty interesting, actually, when you think about it.
Think about how well Yu Darvish pitched with a couple months off.
Yeah.
Think about how well Joe Musgrove pitched with a couple months off. That in my mind is not something I would.
I mean, you have to get to the playoffs.
Right. You have to have the luxury to be able to do that.
You have to have the luxury to be able to do that. I think if you're the LA Dodgers, you are going to roll out of bed and make the playoffs. With you as the manager, me as the manager, you as the manager, Paulie as the manager, you're going to roll out of bed It would take a miracle for that team, as it's constructed, as deep as they are, to not make the playoffs. So if I were in charge, I wouldn't. You never want to say, like, let's just not push guys. I mean, I think it's okay to, like, start a little bit slower. You don't need to be gangbusters in April, May, June. You know, you just don't. That's been proven. In fact, remember in May and June, we're like, who in the world is beating the Philadelphia Phillies? There's not a person, there's not a team on the planet that's going to be.
Except maybe the Yankees.
Because look how hot they started. What does it matter? It doesn't matter at all. We all look at these games as live and die every single night. If you have the feeling that your team is going to roll into the playoffs, load managing some of your better arms, some of your higher leverage arms is not the worst
But we thought
strategy.
the Padres were going to roll into the playoffs last year.
We did.
Thought they would. They had plenty of talent. That's, it's all about maximizing it once the playoffs arrived. And guess what? They didn't even get there.
Yep.
They couldn't roll into the playoffs.
Strategy was still the strategy though was
it was their strategy was
right.
Let's not worry about things early in the season. We know we've got plenty of talent to make the playoffs. Stop panicking about these one-run losses and aberrations. We know our numbers will be there.
Yep.
And then it was too late.
Too late.
It was too late at the end of the year to get there, and that strategy didn't work for the Padres.
Yeah, I think to me the scariest part about what the Dodgers have done this year, beyond just winning the World Series and you feeling like the Padres are probably the best team they played along the way and obviously had a chance to knock them out. I mean, they had a chance to end this whole thing before it even really began. I think what scares me a little bit is it's felt like for the last decade or so that getting over that playoff hump was the Dodgers' Achilles heel, right? That looming feeling of, yeah, you won it in 2020, but that was, not a real World Series per se. Now they're going to have gotten over that hump with the talent, with the money. So, look, it doesn't mean anything for next year. It doesn't mean anything moving forward. But do you see now a Dodger team next year when presumably they're battling with the Padres again this time of year in October? That is a team that no longer has that cloud head. We'll see.
That's the nightmare.
For Padres fans, this did not work out.
The Dodgers
great.
team with all the baggage eliminated
Yes.
and simply the talent remaining. And when they go to the playoffs next year with the confidence of having won it, they'll just have that much more of an advantage over everybody else. And you can see a run like the Yankees had at the turn of the century, win 4 World Series in 5 years, something like that. But even that run of the Yankees, it came like Yankees weren't that good before Derek Jeter, before that team arrived. They were bad.
Terrible.
The Dodgers have had this run of a decade plus before they've even started now winning titles. I mean, the Braves had their decade plus, but they only won the one and were ultimately disappointing. But the Dodgers are looking to turn that on their ear and go, okay, here was our decade of the Braves. Now here's our really good decade following our good decade.
The thing that would go against them being able to really rattle off something pretty crazy, like winning 4 out of 5 like the Yankees did in the late 90s, 3 in a row, would be this new playoff format.
Yeah.
That it just appears that year after year we have a lot of results that come out of nowhere, and it's really hard to get through this format.
Yeah,
this second straight time.
And maybe this tournament's a little bit different than that one, certainly. But if this thing has done, anything like. Do the Dodgers look rusty with that 5 days off? The resetting their rotation and their bullpen? Nope, they sure don't. Did they look? Both 1 seeds made it. Like let's. We don't need to change the format right now because it's small sample size both ways.
Yeah, you don't hear anything about that.
Not a
this
word.
year.
No rest versus rust right now.
And again, no
rest is better.
No one's won back-to-back in a quarter of a century. Whatever the reason for that is. I think Sammy touches on it with the playoff format, which has kind of expanded this century and made it harder to get through the postseason. I do think there's when you just play deep into October, the coming back of the next year, adding a bunch of innings to your starters and everything in your bullpen makes them you a little more vulnerable. There's a number of reasons why in baseball in particular, it's harder to repeat. It's not impossible. That's for sure. I mean,
I do think it's going to be interesting because what you can't do if you're AJ Preller and Eric Grupner and Eric Katsenda and whoever else is calling the shots is you can't be reactionary. And when you're reactionary to what teams like the Dodgers do, that's when you get yourself in trouble.
Right.
You know, the Yankees did that for a long time. They would get really reactionary
To the Red Sox.
To the Red Sox, and you're like, oh, God, why would you bring that? Why would you bring Jacoby Ellsbury
Right.
here? You don't need Jacoby Ellsbury. He's not a good player. Let them sign it. Why would you bring Johnny Damon over? You know what I mean? Like, this doesn't make any sense. And what you can't do is you can't get super reactionary. And I know that's the nature of life. It's like, you know, your buddy gets a new car, you want a new car, right? Like,
yeah, I think maybe the silver lining of this postseason is knowing that the Padres had the right formula.
Yeah,
if you're
that's-
looking at the Dodgers team, what do the Padres have that the Dodgers have? A lengthy lineup that puts together really good at bats. Padres had that. A really, really good bullpen. Padres had that.
And a few really
Dodgers
good
have
starters.
ended up having very good starting pitching in the postseason, especially in this World Series. Padres had that.
Dylan Cease, he just killed us, man.
Yeah,
Just killed us.
without knowing what this 26-man roster looks like on opening day, right now you can say confidently the Padres have whatever formula that is the Dodgers have. They still, even though they lost that 5-game series, they still match up
Fairly
really
well.
well for
Yeah.
what you need this time. You know
Today,
what the Dodgers have done, yeah.
All right, we got to check traffic one more time, and then I'll tell you what are the chances that the Yankees can get this to at least at Game 5 before we wrap things up here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Wrapping up our morning drive with a couple of problems in the North County. Southbound side of the 5 coastline near Encinitas Boulevard. 2 cars and a pickup truck involved in a crash. They're all over the right shoulder. And an accident on the Auto Parkway off-ramp of southbound 15. Couple cars involved. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, since they went to the best-of-7 format in the World Series, 24 times a team has taken a 3-games-to-none lead in that World Series. We know how many times the series has gone 7 games and been lost by that team. 0. No team has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit and won the series. I can also tell you that no team has ever come back and even forced a Game 7 that they lost.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
I can also tell you that no team has ever come back and even forced a Game 6 when falling behind 3 games to none in the World Series.
Really?
Not even once.
I didn't know that.
I can also tell you that of those 24, only 3 of them have actually forced a Game 5.
Very cool.
21
Really?
times the team that is up 3-0 in the World Series has
Wow.
just swept it in Game 4.
I would have not guessed that
I was
would
surprised,
be,
too.
Yeah, wow.
So you have
You guys were
definitely
talking earlier about the Dodgers and like when do they, do they feel any pressure? Right now, the pressure's completely off. They don't feel any pressure until it somehow gets sent back to Game 6.
If it goes back to LA, yeah.
That's the
Yes.
first
Yeah.
time they start.
That's the
feeling
first
it.
time. Yeah, and I'll say this. You'll think I'm maybe crazy, but we've actually seen him do it. If I believe it is going to be Brent Honeywell on the bump to start, is what the Dodger fans I
that
know.
reactionary move the Dodgers made when they needed the Padres, Brent Honeywell.
Yes, they had to
Yeah.
get him. If Honeywell gives up a couple today, even if it's 2 or 3, right? And the Yankees are heels able to get through, and it's a 3-0 Yankees lead in the 4th. Dave Roberts will have zero problem punting this game. Zero.
They did that.
None.
They did that in
did
the
it.
NLCS.
They sure did. And
they basically punted Game 2 and punted Game 5.
And I have expect Kasparius.
I agree.
Expect all of those guys to come in and throw an inning here.
But
an inning
that's
there.
the formula.
That's the formula.
I think the reason why there's so many sweeps after 3-0 is teams realize when you're down 3-0, you're overmatched. But I don't think the Yankees necessarily will go into going. They're still the
can't
Yankees.
beat Brent Honeywell,
We have
you
Aaron
know?
Judge. We have Juan Soto.
Let's
we
get
can't
it done.
possibly be so overmatched. Get some runs against Brent Honeywell. Dodgers will do their punt. Then you got Garrett Cole going in Game 5, who's nasty.
There's always a pass.
Gets you
always
to
a
Game
pass,
6,
till
and
there's
then
not.
you get to Game 6, and all of a sudden, again, I think the pressure changes immensely in that game.
You guys are cute.
I know.
It is.
But
it's really sweet.
if you let a team up for air, you never know. Dave Roberts should know that very well.
He lived it. He did not want to talk about it last night. Somebody asked him the question. He goes, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, he just doesn't want to. He was on the good side of it and still doesn't want to talk about it.
I picked the Yankees in 7. I really thought this would
I
be
did too.
a great back and forth series, but I think this ends tonight.
I do too.
Yeah.
like to go back until 2023. AJ Preller. Would you be surprised to learn that Brent Honeywell will be the starter for the deciding game of the World Series next year?
You should text him that, see what he says.
You know what? I will say, I like Brent. He was
too. Great guy.
He was a good guy.
Yeah. All right. We will continue this discussion tomorrow. Annie and Elston will continue it coming up next. Thank you, Sammy, for the surprise visit in studio. That was a treat. Thanks to AJ Cassavell, who joined us earlier. For Paul Reindl and Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Have a great rest of your Tuesday from all of us here at San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So long, everyone.